All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. The REMINGTOM pod is live, and shout out to the W. I don't know if this is the best or the worst event to have on while we listen to a future album later, but we got the WNBA All-Star Weekend on in the background. I guess they're, according to the schedule that they laid out earlier, it does seem like the All-Star Weekend goes Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but of course, the NBA does the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I gotta say, I kind of wouldn't mind the idea of a Friday, Saturday All-Star Weekend. I mean, you got to start talking about which events. I don't know. You start talking about cutting events at that point, or is it longer time slots for the events at the given days? But I mean, it's like, oh, are we gonna lose the celebrity game all of a sudden? So maybe it goes, Thursday, Friday, Saturday situation. But I do wonder if there is something to the All-Star Weekend part of it, where the game on Sunday, when you turn the corner and you're on the other side of the week again, it doesn't really matter. You're gonna get the break, and especially now as well too. Of course, they're gonna definitely get their breaks, but I mean, you're gonna have the time off anyways, regardless of whether or not you play the game Saturday or Sunday. But if you gave the players, I guess they would still get the extra day off, and just the mental aspect of like, okay, this week, because there are still teams that I think will play on like a Monday or a Tuesday of the All-Star Weekend, and then maybe Tuesday would be like the last game of the weeks for the All-Star Weekend week, and then Wednesday, or maybe you would go all the way till Wednesday, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, and then you got Thursday off, Friday, Saturday, maybe like a little double header 4-team situation on Thursday, and then you get into All-Star Weekend on Friday. But if you started it on Thursday, just in case you gotta save the celebrity, just in case. I mean, if you're gonna have the time off, the question becomes, what else are we gonna schedule? So, can we just get Drewski and Kai Cenat out there for another year, see if they'll run it back? So we could just run that back on Thursday this time instead, and then what else is it? They don't do this. They do the skills challenge on Saturday for the NBA with the rest of the same, Friday night, Saturday night correlation. But it's the Rising Stars game, of course. So yeah, Rising Stars in I'm definitely more locked. I gotta be honest. I'm more locked in on the celebrity game than I am the Rising Stars game. It is what it is. I think it's a similar, because the All-Star game, I mean, you can obviously have mainstays. And you can have a guy be in the Rising Star game, of course, a couple times, but you're not gonna necessarily have a mainstay in the All-Star or the Rising Star game. I guess you could have a mainstay. There have been some mainstays in celebrity game history. Obviously, obviously the obvious ones, but a guy like Kevin Hart, who won all the MVPs and stuff, or a guy like Arnie Duncan, who I think played in 3 or 4 and was just balling out every time. Like literally, I forget exactly what he was in. Something in some secretary or something. But yeah, he was maybe education. I don't know. I guess we could shout out our guy. He did win, I think, a co-MVP one year with Kevin Hart. Or did Kevin Hart have to be like, Kevin Hart might have actually been like, no, this guy actually played so well, he deserves MVP. Should we just look up Arnie Duncan MVP? But he might have won like an MVP in. Yeah, shout out Arnie Duncan, dominates the celebrity game. He might be the best pro athlete celebrity player that's ever played. The thing is, I think there is some college in his background. So, it is education. Hey, I guess the Arnie Duncan facts were just locked in the subconscious there. But let's see, basketball. While at Harvard, co-captained the varsity first team. Academic All-American. Okay, from 98 to 91. So, did go pro in academics in a sense, I guess, if, making Department of Secretary of Education counts as going pro. Is that a max contract? Or is there only one max contract in is it, I guess it is technically one team, but hey, I guess, maybe we do need a couple more shots to go around. I guess, do we? I guess I don't know what the correct version of the analogy is, but not enough shots, too many shots. Who knows? But I guess either one, just depending on what you're talking about. But yeah, you got him messing around in college at Harvard. So, he's playing pretty high-level basketball. Again, even if it's not pro, because even a guy like Terrell Owens, who, maybe, okay, he didn't play in the NBA, but it's like, he goes in a different class for the celebrity game. So, and they do have the, it's a co-ed game, so it is. I was like, because like, does the W need a celebrity game? It's like, well, it is kind of a joint celebrity game as well too. But I gotta be honest, Chad. You know what I would love? 2 celebrity games. One at the beginning of the year, one in the middle of the year. I think it'd be great. The spacing of it does kind of work out. I don't know. It's like, okay, a season. Can the celebrities play too many games in a month if you have the All-Star weekends back to back? But a summer basketball celebrity game. I mean, I feel like you can get a couple people. Maybe you could get a get a couple NBA guys, but just to see, because I guess you do get a couple of W players in the NBA celebrity game, which I guess I don't know if that's something that needs to happen or is good or whatever. But if you got just if Wemby just randomly pulled up to W All-Star Weekend, is just like in the celebrity game. But yeah, so I guess new schedule. It's on Thursday along with Rising Stars, because Sam would like to keep Rising Stars games around as well too. So I know they've messed with that format a little bit, but yeah, you keep the Thursday intact, and then yeah, you do dunk contest, 3-point contest, skills challenge, or whatever you do your contests on Friday, and then the game on Saturday, and then just go into the weekend, have Sunday off. I don't know, and that, or again, you just cut Thursday out of it, and then go Friday, Saturday, because I get the Rising Star game is fun. So if you're good with putting up an event for niche a much more niche event for some hardcore basketball fans, then I mean it is of course an event that's just going to get on in the background. Some basketball fans TVs, but it is probably not the most necessarily must-have thing on the schedule. But it is fun, of course, and it's all been about the competitiveness of the weekend going forward as well too. But the Rising Star game I feel like has been it's been pretty decent. I don't know, I guess anything's not necessarily more difficult to get over than the NBA All-Star game. But the W, I guess I don't know who's playing in the All-Star game this year as well either, because of course Asia Wilson is injured, Caitlin Clark is injured. Brianna Stewart she didn't look like she was competing in anything tonight, so that could just be, she just doesn't want to mess around in the Friday night competitions. But I don't know, is she ready? Howard Sabale as well too, supposed to miss the All-Star game. Brittany Sykes and Brianna Jones named as replacement players on Thursday. Okay, so here are the rosters, and I guess with the picks as well too. So of course, Caitlin Clark, she took Aaliyah Boston number 1, as you would expect. Brianna Stewart 2, Sabrina 3, Alicia Gray 4, Asia Wilson 5, Ogumake 6. That's kind of a steal. Sabale 7. Team Clark decimated by injury, honestly. So you're gonna have Clark, Wilson, and Sabale, 3 of the 4 major starters out with injury, all on Team Clark. So do the reserves become, do the injury replacements become the starters, or do the reserves become the starters? I don't even know how that works in the NBA. I guess the replacements become the starters, right? I don't know, honestly. I can't think of because I feel like fortunately they've been healthy, or they've been replaced before the reserves have been named, and then the injury, like I feel like Davis or something. Shout out to Davis. It's not, we're not trying to take a shot or anything. It's just it is what it is. I feel like maybe he's made an all-star starting lineup and then maybe gotten injured, and with his replacement, I guess, again, for Davis, like if it's in the Western Conference specifically, the Western Conference is stacked enough. I'm trying to remember in the East, if the East ever shout out to the East. And I mean, the East has obviously had great players over the last couple of years, but just the name value of it as well too, where it's like, okay, now Durant's in the starting lineup for the West. It's like, okay, well, that sounds fine for the all-star starters. I'm okay with that. But I'm trying to think if that ever happened in something, but I guess I just don't know. So, yeah, we'll have to see who's out there for the starting tip for Team Clark. Pause. But they got going up against Stewart, Gray, Ogumake, and Beckers. And Collier, I mean, that could just be a better lineup anyways, honestly. Who knows? You got Collier in the lead for the MVP. I think Stewart, are they still the 1 seed in their conference, or the 1 or 2? They're still fighting around that spot. I know Agumake was having a really great start to the season as well too, obviously being an all-star starter, but just for her career in general, just having a really great start. And then Becker's, I mean, in this, with this much talent around, and then her playmaking can really stand out, and she can kind of be more of a point guard, really in full effect. And so can Sabrina. I mean, it'll be a fun Sabrina moment, I guess. Sabrina and Aaliyah Boston, like, that could be an interesting dynamic to watch, because I think Sabrina does bring a lot of the stuff that Caitlin Clark obviously brings to the table. And I mean, Caitlin Clark obviously can operate at a really high level, so it's okay that the usage is really high. But again, she kind of, and it's the same with the NBA as well too. I mean, we had the conversation stylistically about what is the best type of fit for certain, so who fits around certain policies, certain types of guys, and what's the right way to build teams around certain styles of players. And she kind of does, she fall in a little bit, and she does have the off, like, if we were comparing her to Luka and Trae Young and stuff like that, like, she does, I think, have not even just like they use her in the off-ball stuff, they could, like, run some of that stuff a little bit more. Like, she's, I think, just more capable and stuff. Like, not to say that you couldn't run stuff for Luka off the ball and set him up, but I feel like it's just going to be a little bit different. And part of that, it's the conditioning and stuff like that as well too. Like, you could unlock Trae Young a little bit there for sure if you had another playmaker and you were running Trae Young around screens and getting him open in various ways. Like, you could definitely do that, but it is a little bit different as well too, because Caitlin Clark's just a bigger guard, so it does make that, with the two, that was always sort of more of a 2-guard thing for the NBA. So just Trae Young kind of fall in that category. Who knows? But does Sabrina kind of bring the Caitlin Clark stuff without maybe the high usage? As I'm saying that, I was like, should we look up the usage and see what it is? And it's all about situation as well too. Like, I mean, Sabrina is probably playing on a more stacked team right now, and last year as well too, with Jones and Stewart, and all three of them just really at the peak of their powers. She's definitely playing with more star players, but her usage percentage 29.4 this year. I was gonna say it might be a little bit higher this year, but you see it, and it's going to go up as well too as she continues to get better and continues to take more responsibility in the office. She's entering the peak of her powers, so I mean, I'm not saying like, oh, take the ball out of, she's still a point guard, she's still a leader in that way, but I think you can see her off the ball a little bit differently than somebody like Caitlin Clark. And it would be interesting to see again with some of the Kelsey Mitchell stuff, and I guess Kelsey Mitchell will be out there as well too, even more so. I mean, it's still a pretty fun team. Gabby Williams, obviously, is still pretty versatile. Citron, the rookie, could be a sleeper for sure. I mean, both the rookies. The rookies in an all-star game would be tough in any situation, but they've been pretty good this year, and they are both, again, pretty good traits for their different positions. So they should potentially hold up pretty well there, even in all-star game. But again, the younger players on the bench compared to just, you got Kelsey Plum. Kelsey Plum at pick 17 is honestly kind of wild. That might be. Does FanDuel have odds? Can we bet on who's the MVP for the all-star game? Because it could be. I mean, again, like the NBA, it could be a scoring lead type guard. I mean, Charles Barkley picked Iverson in the All-Star draft for a reason. I mean, he was thinking it was a different draft. But shout out to our guy Charles for taking Iverson first in the all-time history draft. So, I mean, could Kelsey Plum have a little bit of that score first mentality? That's for sure. So in an all-star game, that could definitely be. Okay, the three-point contest, I guess we can get bet right now. And she's competing in the three-point contest. Ooh. I guess, Sabrina, of course, is headlining. And the last time she was in the three-point contest, she had just an all-time historic performance. I think she only missed two shots in the entire round. Like 25 or 27 or something like that. So, just crazy. And having her, is she going to repeat that? Did she miss one shot in the entire round? I mean, again, it'd be crazy. But Yeah, Kelsey Plum. You know, if she really has something to prove the entire weekend. Okay, now we're getting into title and season odds. But do they have who could win All-Star Game MVP? Here we go. 10-1. Okay, so her odds do not necessarily. I think that is more appropriate than where she got drafted. I don't know. Is she beefing with some players? You know, Kelsey Plum. She's not afraid to talk the talk. That's for sure. We saw her in Paige Becker's. I think it was more Paige Becker's exchange of words than there was like that clip, because I was like, what just happened? But yeah. So who knows if her and Collier and Clark. You know, I guess it's not like she has to have beef with all the players. If she has beef with just the two captains, but I'm trying to think. Do we have to look up like Kelsey Plum, Caitlin Clark comments? Because I feel like, I don't know. You know, a lot of people were saying some stuff, and you never know what was being said by who. So again, you just don't know who got on what side. Kelsey Plum should not have been the 17th pick in this draft. Even, she's a reserve, so it's not like she can be pick 1 through 8. But, I guess you start going, okay, what should be the right draft order? Okay, wait, who's going up right now in the skills contest? Natasha Cloud from the Liberty chat. The crowd's going crazy. We're over here looking at the rosters. We don't know what happened. Is this for the win? Is this the entire skills contest, or was that just to advance in the round? A dramatic ending to advance in the round? We'll have to see. They're not saying. I mean, it does seem like it was a dramatic rally in the round itself, with her missing some of the shots and then being back with the passes. But is she the winner? The skills contest winner? Because did the Liberty have the skills? I'm trying to. Now this rings a bell. Did they have the winner last year? Lady Hamilton, she just went crazy in the playoffs. So at some point last year. I just remember the Liberty had, again with the 3, of course, main stars. They also had really great production with some of the. Oh yeah, okay, so she did win. Shout out, great job. We got the commissioner presenting the trophy. Does she get the car? That'd be kind of sick. So, yeah, shout out Natasha Cloud. The Liberty are continuing to show that they have the depth of the roster, because, again, I think the Lynx have been the most dominant team so far. And they did have Courtney Williams in this contest as well, too. I remember seeing her go up first. So, and she, I guess, second pick in the... pick 9. So, yeah, first pick of the reserves. Hey, yo, it's bouncing back and forth the other way. Shout out the Aces for still getting 3 All-Stars, I guess, but not necessarily getting picked very high in the All-Star draft themselves. But you've got Reese, Alyssa Thomas, Plum, Howard, Diggins, Williams, all on the bench for Team Collier. Is pretty crazy. Again, with the new starting lineup for Team Clark, and I guess who did it say the replacements were for? I guess Brianna Jones and Brittany Sykes is not bad. You gotta say, not bad. I gotta be honest. Is this a fan vote? I don't know. We have to pull up the standings here. I thought the Dream had a better record than. Maybe I'm underestimating the Aces. Maybe I just have, a different expectation for what the team has been in the past. But aren't the Dream just having a straight up better season? So I wouldn't be. I would a little surprised that. I guess it's close. They're 13-9. The Aces are 11-11. But still, slightly better. It feels like they've been hovering more around the top for the entire year. So for them to have more All-Stars would definitely make sense. That's for sure. And you got the Mystic right there as a 500 team as well. So, yeah, Liberty are second in the association, just in general with record. I guess them and the Mercury have the same amount of wins at this point. Oh, Commissioner's Cup. Wait, can we go conference? Here we go. Conference standings. Yeah, Liberty's still number 1. Lynx still number 1 in their conference. The Storm, the Storm are right there. And was that Gabby Williams and then Agumake? So they're on separate teams. So there was some team overlap for sure in the All-Star weekend. Like the Mystics doubling up on the same team, the Aces doubling up on the same team. I guess you do have Diggins and Diggins and Agumake. Okay, so they're on the same team, and then you got Gabby Williams on the other team, Team Clark. Two members of the Dream on Team Collier with Howard and Gray. And then the Mercury in the Sky only have... Oh, I guess the Mercury have two in with Sabale and Thomas. But Sabale is out with injury either way. So, wait, is it reflected in the odds? Team Collier is favored. Okay, they're minus 194. So, not bad. Minus 4.5 on the spread. Does seem still generally kind of close, even for an all-star game level competition. So I do like the Kelsey Plum bet at 10-1 for her to win MVP is not bad. Kelsey Mitchell at 14-1, Diggins at 16-1, Kayla McBride, Aaliyah Boston 22-1, Agumake 25-1, Angel Reese 31-1. You know, that's not bad. As much as you want to, like, could you, could she could put up a 20-20, like she really could. She could put up a 25-20 in the All-Star game. She could just really go out there and hustle and have the craziest stat line, which again is what it is winning MVP is for the All-Star game is usually just okay. Who's the one that's actually trying like it's a real game. So, some years in the NBA that's Westbrook. It's whoever. So it's either Russell Westbrook, whoever the hometown guy is. Steph kind of gets into the mix as well too. Peak Steph, All-Star game Steph, he'll definitely go out there and try, for sure. LeBron, I think LeBron, if the game is good, LeBron he goes with the flow. If the game is good, he'll get into the game for sure. But because then he's got to stand out, he's got to be the best guy. But if the game's not great, then he's okay. No, I'll just sit this one out. It's fine. But he's gotten his All-Star game MVPs as he had one a couple years ago. He'd get back in the bag. So I guess we can't necessarily count out any of the veterans then as well too. So I mean, take a big swing. Brianna Jones is 65-1. I don't know. That could be interesting. Again, if we're just going veteran status, I feel like she's been an All-Star a couple of times. So I don't know if she's necessarily had a lot of run in the All-Star games themselves. But if she's been in the environment a lot, let's see. 3-time All-Star. So this will be her 4th All-Star game. And again, I don't know if she's played in the other ones. But still, that'd be kind of a lot for a lot of the young talent that is in this mix right now. So, it would be difficult not to pick Team Collier. But Team Clark is, and again, the underdogs in an All-Star game, you always got to give them a chance because they might just go out there and try harder and have the effort plays and just swing the game that way. But if you're just looking, of course, at the players and the rosters and stuff, you would have to be given the edge to. We'll give our vote to Team Collier. But I guess Kelsey Plum at 10-1 would help that as well too. So I don't know if you parlay or just go both. I don't know what the All-Star game losing team MVP history is for that. I feel like, because Agumake won it a couple years ago. I remember she's one of the names that I remember actually winning that award. Was that last year or 2 years ago? But she's won that recently. And I don't remember. I think her team might have actually won because she might have hit some buzzer beaters or went crazy to pull the game away or something like that. Of course, crazy performance obviously led to her winning the MVP. But, I don't know if it's more likely than a finals MVP. It's like, okay, if you lose, it doesn't matter. It's the All-Star game. As long as you had the best performance. But like anything, it goes hand in hand. So do we got 3-point contest up next? Here we go, chat. Oh, Don Staley in the 3-point contest. Shout out Andrea Carter. So, legendary names, of course, for the W in this before. And I got to say, I know you shout out to Ryan Rucco and Rebecca Loba. They do an excellent job when they are calling the games for sure. But an All-Star, and especially the Friday night, the contest and the hang environment of it. I don't know if this is a time to just run that crew out there where you have L. Duncan with Carter and Agumake and there's a 4th person in the mix as well too, or maybe it is just the 3 of them. It might be. If there's a 4th I'm sorry. I feel like if they're on the show, the panel, they've done the panel with a coach before. So I'm forgetting who maybe the coach was there, but I don't know if there's another person in the crew as well too. But those are the ones that we remember that are tagged in Instagram posts. So, we'll just have to keep an eye on next time they make a joint post. Is there 4 accounts attached? I don't know. IT looking at that. But, yeah, so, I don't know if you just have them hanging out, watching the games together. And, you have the vet. So maybe there is a alt broadcast. You have the Sue Bird Tarasi Connect as well, too. You've had that alt broadcast going for tournament games and stuff before. So... yeah, again, a shout out. And for the All-Star game, it makes sense. You have the normal traditional broadcast, but I don't think for necessarily a skills challenge you need to. But Ruko does a great job on the call as well. So, we're not necessarily saying take Ruko off the call. Ruko hanging out with the crew would be kind of fun. So what's the field here for the 3-point contest? I guess we did have the odds available that we can reference here to see what we've got. So Sabrina, Kelsey Plum. The odds are dropping for Kelsey Plum. Just Kelsey Plum. Hey, yo. Okay, so they have a more condensed field than the NBA. Honestly, probably for the better because, the NBA's the field's twice as large and literally half of the performances. Like half the guys are just like, okay, well, I guess it's just not my night. It is what it is. So just make it more competitive. Just get to the semifinals right away. Lock it in. Top 5. But Sabrina, Kelsey Plum, Alicia Gray, Lexi Hall, and Sonia Citron, 9-1. I mean, do you just take the rookie? But Lexi Hall, 8-1 as well, too, is not bad. So I guess just from a familiarity standpoint, obviously the 3-point shooting of Sabrina is the skill that one of the skills that jumps off the page for her. For sure. Gray at 5-1. I want to say again, just the percentages and stuff. Sabrina might be the number 1 in the field here of the 5, but Gray is at 38% this season. Okay, 34, 35 the last 2, but 40 the season before that. 36, 35, 38. So yeah, 35, 36% for her career. If you average it out. Seems about right. She is on the upside of that, this season, for sure. Of course, the Dream, again, are having a pretty feisty season so far. So, yeah, that's not bad either. What's Lexi Hall at? And I guess, shout out. We might as well just see what we got for the field here. 46%. From 3, and she's been over 40% each of the last couple seasons. Not necessarily the volume that I guess was Gray, more than 3.5. I didn't necessarily take a look at that, but 44%. Whoa, and 8-1. Chat, go to the books. Run. This is bleed 'em dry. Chat, you got him. 8-1. We got the winning bet right here. It is what it is. Okay, wait, just in case. Let's see. 9-1. It is better odds, so I don't know. The accountant, he's saying we need a little bit more. 36%. So yeah, 8-1 might be the bet here. It really might, honestly. Again, this we got 5 to choose from. So if we're going Kelsey Plum, a little safer, plus 320, or minus 105 again. Sabrina, we start parlaying it with some of the other stuff that could happen. Sabrina round 1 score. It's locked. Hey yo, all the round 1 scores are locked now. We're too late. It is what it is. But you still have time, chat. 8-1. Pause, get it in. If you still have time. BETSTAMP. If we get on BETSTAMP, you can see if this is even better than 8-1. I mean, that's the beauty of BETSTAMP. You just go in and it'll give you the odds. If you link all your sportsbook on BETSTAMP, it'll give you the odds. Compare them. Be like, wait a second. She's actually 10-1 on this other sportsbook. I don't know if they'd have that much of a variance, but you never know. That's the beauty. Again, you find that stuff on BETSTAMP. You're like, I didn't think the sports books would be this much of a, and it's maybe 1-1. You go, okay, this one's 11-1. This one's 12-1. Is an example. Anyways, but you're like, okay, wait a second. The lowest one was like 8-1, and the highest was, there is a range. And it's like, okay, if I was looking at this one, I didn't realize I was missing out on, just a whole nother parlay basically on the whole thing. So yeah, maybe the odds aren't that dramatic, but you still find the value for sure. And you will see, legitimate swings, especially, again, you start going through some of the game bets as well, too, when you get in the full swing of the season for the NFL and the NBA and, for the W as well, where you're like, wait a second, this book has got this one is like -1 whatever, and this was plus whatever. Like, it's just a whole underdog, favorite difference here. Like, I guess I'm gonna make some money tonight. It is what it is, but this is not bad. I can't believe they haven't locked the odds already at 8-1 for the 3-point contest. But there also was a couple of NBA things that have happened. Barely a couple, chat. Hey, yo, it is what it is. The waived players are on the move. The buyout guys. The market was quick for Dame and Brad Beal, apparently. I guess I don't know if it was quick, but they, it is what. I guess they found teams. It is what it is. So our guy Dame is just going back to Portland, chat. It is what it is. He did not like Milwaukee whatsoever. The reports were, of course, that after he got released from the team, he was thrilled. He was like, I can't believe this. I'm getting paid for the next several years, and I don't have to live in Milwaukee. This is incredible, and I get to choose my next destination, because he did demand a trade from Portland, but Dame, unfortunately, Dame was, and the Spurs were kind of the team on the other end of this, and I guess in some ways we haven't necessarily fully corrected back in terms of the player trade demand stuff, because I guess we just saw Durant kind of do a similar thing in terms of Houston, and kind of wiggling his way to Houston a little bit, kind of but he ends up, of course, on the Rockets now. It makes sense from where the Phoenix Suns were at, that it's like, okay, I guess we have to trade Durant now, but also is that part of the whole sort of thing that happens? Like, it's like, okay, maybe we still there's still definitely a player gets their way thing that can go right there, but even for, I guess, Phoenix, that trade was a little bit, it was not like they necessarily got the franchise altering back. And Jalen Green, who knows, you never know. I guess Malawatch, there is you trade for Durant, so much like getting Durant for Houston, there is a version, I guess, of the trade that is really good. There's a really great version of Durant that Houston can get, or who knows, with some injuries, you just never know. But also there's some question marks for the pieces that the Suns got back as well too. Maybe the value is pretty even at the end of the day. But unfortunately for the Dame situation, the Blazers were just like, no, we're not going to listen to anything you want to say. It is what it is. Dame, we thank you for your service. You've been maybe one of the most loyal guys in the league. I guess gets traded to Milwaukee. Giannis, if he does demand a trade, Milwaukee's going to be like, yes, Giannis, wherever you want to go, Giannis, we'll send first class, Giannis, please. We'll pay for the flight, and we'll pay for the hotel for the first month if you're staying. Like, thank you for your service. And I guess, again, Giannis did win him a title for the first time in like 50 years. So it's just a little bit different. We're not trying to be disrespectful to the Dame career here, but it's just that was what happened when he requested the trade. They were just like, no, we're not gonna, because I don't remember if he want to go to Miami at that time. I guess that was definitely one of the teams that was rumored, and it is a weird one now, especially too, because the hero dynamic of it, Tyler Hero, shout out, the hero's journey has been a little strange, because with the after the Butler trade, with the increased role in the offense, it did feel like his stock was up, but then we got to the playoffs and we kind of saw him with the same sort of defensive question marks, and it's like, okay, as the trade stock sort of resorted back down. I mean, again, Dame as well too. I mean, there was his own trade stock that was fluctuating at the time, but it was like, okay, would we, how does the trade value align for those two guys? It feels like it's kind of been going back and forth. So again, it's a little weird to kind of feel like what the full version of that trade would have been like as well too, because I guess in the Heat we're kind of messing around with, were they messing around with some picks? Yeah, everybody was trading picks this year. So did they get Kasparonis with their own pick, or did they trade for that? Did they trade back and get Kasparonis? Who knows? But just is Kasparonis a Blazer? If it's all said, if they end up trading Dame to Miami, I guess. And is Jovic in the trade as well too? Like, maybe there is a different version of the trade, but they did get a nice haul back for Dame, and eventually, they get Dame back as well too, which is, has that ever happened as in the, I guess, it's definitely happened for some of the maybe again some of the role player guys, but for an all-star, all NBA level guy to return back to the team again at a point where I get maybe Dame. We're not saying that we're not necessarily betting that he's going to be a first-team All NBA guy next season, but could he still be a very impactful guy? And could he still be, I guess Eastern Conference All-Star? Is that just a new tier of player for this next year? I think it might be Eastern Conference All-Star. If Dame was back in the East, he maybe would have been an All-Star, but now he's in the West. Who knows? Dylan Harper's got his spot. It is what it is. But I don't know if anybody's ever returned back to the team as well. Maybe even for the NFL. I'm trying. There was some. I remember when the Broncos traded Von Miller. Or did they even trade Von Miller, or did he just leave straight up in free agency? No, I think they did trade because they traded him for like a second-round pick, or some. Did that turn into Pitino, as well too? Not Rick Pitino. Nick. His name's not Pitino. It's not just Pitino with the B. It's Bonito. Nick Bonito. I think that's actually what it is. So did they draft Bonito with that pick? But there was like, okay, is he going to be back on the Broncos in a couple years? Just all of a sudden. And is Von Miller back on the Broncos now as well too? Is that why I'm thinking of that name? Or is he just still... Is Von Miller retired? Sidetrack chat, where's Von Miller in 2025? Where in the world is Von... Oh, the Commanders! Ooh, shout out. So yeah, he has not made the return back to Denver. But... I'm trying. There was a couple, maybe the NFL ones. I don't know why it feels like the NFL ones, because I guess maybe the cap manipulation and just the trade value of it is weird as well too. Oh, chat, Citron. Speaking of, she's 14 shots made. I don't know how many. She hasn't missed a lot. Well, I guess right until we started watching. But either way, 16. I guess is she up second? Because Kelsey Plum went first. Again, plus 320. It's not like stellar odds, but it wasn't a. Those stellar performances as well, too. So, top of the key, she went 5 for 5. Shout out. 19. So, you don't have to have the number one performance in the first round. You just have to advance. You have to have the confidence level grow. And that 9-1 is going to start cashing. I guess if you're going to bet the 8-1, the lesson learned from now on is if you're going to bet just the second to last person, just go ahead and bet the last person as well, too. You might as well just throw a little bit down on the last person just in case, or just a couple of people around it, because if any one of those two, and again it depends on the size of the field as well too, but I'm thinking maybe even like a NFL future situation. It's like, okay, I think the 17th best team in the odds could be the conference champion. Like maybe, well, I guess that wouldn't work out for the conference champion, but it was the 9th best team in the odds. Bet the 10th and the 8th best team as well too. And I guess you might as well bet the whole field. One of them's likely to win. But Lexi Hall up on this one now. So the pressure is mounted as well, too. That's the sleeper part that you can't, of course, project out in this stuff. As Kelsey Plum goes first, it's not necessarily the highest score. So Citra's not necessarily facing the most pressure as well, too. And then Hall has to go up after an amazing performance and try to repeat that. And it's just a different type of atmosphere for her performance. So she gets the 4-pointer to go. That is a big boost because she's like halfway there now. Back at the top of the key, right where you want to be. Money ball. Ooh, the money ball would have been the 4-pointer. Oh, it rims out. Pause. That would have got her to 12, and then she makes the next one 13. She would have been right there with that 4-pointer. That 4-pointer is a drama maker, chat. Was this the money ball rack? Okay, she makes up for it a little bit in the money ball rack. Is she out of... Oh, she might be out of points. +2. Wait, is this the money... Oh, this is the money ball rack. 18 for the lead. Wait. Oh! Wait, she got to 20, so is that the advance? I'm so confused about where the money ball's at. They've got the normal... On the graphic for the 3-point makes, they've got the normal ball labeled like the old school money ball. So I get it is a... they're not using just a standard design for everything. I think... Wait a second. Oh, no. This is the money ball rack. Okay. The money balls are cool, I gotta say. Because didn't they just used to use the old school, like, ABA, red, white, and blue? Like, we just got 4 of the Wilsons and then... Or Spaldings or whatever. And then we just got a red, white... We got an ABA at the end of the rack. And that is... pause. So, yeah, they got a little design on the rest of them. But I think you just go. I think for the graphic, we understand that you go standard basketball in just the normal 1-point make, and then the money ball is a different color or like a fire. Maybe I mean even if you even want to go emoji for the money ball rack or in the money ball make, that's totally fine. I guess that's the only other way to separate. You've got to go colorful basketball and then fire emoji as a way to make it work. So Sabrina's up. She goes, 2 for 5 there on that first rack, but makes the money ball, so 3 points is clutch. I mean, you got to get to 20. I mean, she's going to have a good performance here. It's not like Sabrina is just going to be able to step right into the winning round here. The money ball, or the 4-pointer. The Starry? Do we have to start calling it the Starry? Because that's the nice thing about the 2-point ball as well, too. Is even if you just go with the money ball rack. So, okay, she's back to 12. The 4-pointer. Oh, there he is. There's the 4. Oh, it's a 3-pointer. Excuse me. It's a 3-pointer. It gets her to 15. 16. There we go. She's cooking now. She's got one last rack left. Was this the money ball rack? No, the money ball rack, I think, was the left wing. So she only went 2 for 5 in the money ball rack, but it doesn't matter. She already gets to 20. 21. 22. Okay, she's going to get to just 25 casually in the first round. Casually, chat. 25. Sabrina, the mark to beat. So, Citra with the 19 right away. Just, I guess, do they get top 2 to the championship? I think is how it works. So, Lexi Hall, the home crowd. Are we in Indiana? I don't even know where they're at for that. Oh, yeah, they are in Indy. There we go. It's on the arena there. Yeah. Lexi Hall, home crowd advantage. Sabrina, I guess, defending champ performance-wise, not necessarily from last year. Was Gray? I think Alicia Gray was the performer. Oh, so, okay, she's up last. We're giving Sabrina the marquee spot, but no, it's, of course, you got to respect the winner from last year, the real incumbent winner, Alicia Gray, the real champion. Yeah, I guess that's the proper term to use, Chad. It is what it is. We're not the one that made up the English language, so we said what we said. But 22? She's got to have 22 to stay. I guess 21, right? Because, or it does say 22. So I guess, no, did Lexi Hall get to 21? Oh, yeah, Citron got to 19, so then Sabrina would have been in the second place spot with Lexi Hall in first at that moment. But right away, 3 shots on the opening rack is one of the best opening racks, I think, that we've had in the competition so far. Uh-oh, chat. She's locked in. She's locked in. She's got 10 points before the first 4-pointer. Oh, the 4-pointer wasn't good, but it doesn't matter. She's cooking right now anyways. Top of the key. She's money, chat. Is she going to go perfect from the top of the key? Never mind. Oops, my bad. She makes the other one. 4 for 5. We'll take it. She's at 15. Oh, she would have been at 19. Or I keep thinking it's a 4-pointer. She would have been 18 right there. IT, write it down in the back so I can remember. What are the rules? Hey, yo, she's at 17. She's cruising. 18, and she's at the final spot. This is for the money. Money balls were in the right wing. 21. Oh, there it is. 21. Can she tie it? 22. 23. Chat. Whoa. Hey, yo, NBA, step up. The 3-point shooting is crazy. I mean, the NBA scores don't even matter in 2025 because every ball now is like a bonus. It's like a power-up. It's like this one's the Gatorade, donate to Make-A-Wish. This one's your mom wins a free car, and then if you make this one, it's worth 4 points. And, it's like you score 130 points now in the NBA 3-point contest, and you're like, oh, actually, you get eliminated. So the scoring makes sense. They've added the 3-point ball in the mix. Keep the money ball rack, and let's see what happens. So, shout out to Sabrina. I think it might actually just be the same contest, but it's the digression of the NBA 3-point contest. It feels like we've added, of course, a ton of different events. So everybody got to. I guess Citron went first. So Kelsey, I guess we're saying Kelsey Plum didn't have a great performance. She had 22 as well too. So we just, I guess, weren't. She didn't, I guess, necessarily start crazy, but we just tuned out. Hey, yo, it is what it is. So we've got Sabrina and Alicia Gray, the last 2 reigning champions. Am I getting that right? the 2023 and 2024 champions matched up in the finals. That's kind of fitting, chat. Hey, yo. Shout out Von Miller. We've just been staring at this Von Miller stats page for a while. But this does seem like the right way for it to have ended up. And I don't know if it's been this picture perfect in the NBA since Larry Bird just walked into the locker room and said, hey, who wants to be in second place? I guess didn't Steph and Clay had a duel, right? Did Steph win that year? Or I think Clay might have won that year, right? Clay broke a Steph Curry 3-point record for sure. But did they actually compete? If we're going to search Clay right now, I don't think we're going to get results on his 3-point shooting. That's for sure. Hey, yo, chat. Just shout out Klay Thompson. Hey, yo. That's all we can say. But, yeah, Steph Curry 3-point contest. Make no mistake, him and Steph not having a 3-point contest off the court, if you get what we're saying. IT, we'll workshop that one and run it back next time. Receives 3. I mean, look at, why does the gift just happen to have a 3 in it? Who knows? Insane $300,000 gift. What is this, like a watch? A car? A house? $300K? Does Megan have more money than Clay? I mean, Clay was struggling to get one contract or less than entry free agency, so I don't know. But there's also been some court stuff, so I just don't know how it's worked out. Skeleton. Oh yeah, it is a watch, chat. Hey yo. $300K. Megan gifted me this. What a sweet lady. Clay. Classic Clay behavior. Wait, is Megan going to copyright us for watching this TikTok she posted? Megan and Clay, shout out. This is crazy stuff. I mean, I got to be honest, as a Spurs fan, and I think I don't necessarily always hesitate to speak for Spurs Nation, but it's not fair as well, team. I'm not going to prop myself up and be like, hey, let me speak for the entirety of Spurs fan base. But this might be the scariest thing to happen in the Texas competition circle so far, in the basketball world, is in the offseason so far. The Mavs themselves drafted Cooper Flagg. Again, the Rockets traded for Kevin Durant and made a they have a good team. The Rockets have a good team. The most scariest motivating factor is, Martin Short's hosting a game show. Oh, R.I.P. Martin Short. But the most scary thing that's happened in the Western Conference right now, especially, the Texas rivalry adjacent teams, is Clay is with Megan Thee Stallion. I think you can lock him I guess, again, shout out. Clay's a great guy. But if the relationship goes into the season, then, I mean, I think you can lock Clay. Maybe it doesn't even matter. Maybe the motivation is gonna be there, whatever it is. If the motivation is, cold vengeance is a best served cold, or if he's like, hey yo, something else serve up, IT. Hey yo, do we have to go to break? I don't know what just happened, but yeah, we gotta. If we regardless, the Klay Thompson motivation is gonna be there for a great effort as whatever his role is in the team next year. Again, whatever, it's sort of however Cooper Flagg, whatever level he climbs to. But I guess, again, Clay and Davis is just like, okay, when are they gonna bow to Cooper Flagg and give him the team? But if Cooper Flagg is additive for their games, then also what if they just continue to have great seasons, and then Cooper Flagg just again, quote unquote, fits in, but it all works together where you actually, what if they have 3 really good players? Like, it's scary. He's getting gifts, and he's having a good time. So, despite the poor team performance, I guess, I'm not going to sit here and defend the Mavs, but they did win the number 1 pick. But they were the 10th seed, so it's not like they were the worst team in the NBA. But, and I guess they were a play-in team. So, and, making the play-in after trading your best player is not bad. Not bad, honestly. If you trade a generational player in the middle of the season and still make them play it, you gotta be proud, right, chat? I don't know. But, so I don't even remember why we were talking about. Klay Thompson, Steph Curry in the 3-point contest. Wins the Steph Curry. Yeah, fellas, 2016. So at the peak of the Splash Brothers' power. Because the Splash Bros was definitely still the same when Durant entered into the mix. But it wasn't the only thing going on in Golden State, as well, too. It's like there's another storyline in the show that might still be great, but it's just not the same version of the OG show. that was like, okay, the Splash Bros, and then, oh, there's Draymond, and, you know, get even some of the familiar, the supporting role guys, Barbosa, Sean Livingston, you know, it's like, okay, fun team. It is what it is. Still, you know, after all these years of beloved team chat, in the moment, a team that we hate, maybe that's a ranking. I guess we haven't watched enough basketball to make that a really, it's just kind of the re-ranking the teams that we've seen, but the teams that we've hated, but then gone back and been like, you know, that's a fun team. They had some cool guys in that team. But again, it's the in the moment competitiveness of it. It's like LeBron in Miami. You know, the Spurs are in the finals a couple of years there, and you start going LeBron and Wade and Bosh and all these guys. It's like, Mike Miller. Hey, you know, all these guys can get lost. But then all of a sudden, a couple of years turn back, and you're like, oh yeah, you know, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade. Fun group of guys. Mike Miller and some of the bench guys. There's still hard feelings. But of course, pause. Whoa! Hey, yo! We might have to go back to break. But yeah, there's still, of course, not necessarily. It's not forgiven between those role guys on the Miami Heat. But because I mean, again, if you lose to a star player in a tournament or a finals or something, then that's one thing. But sometimes the losing to the other ones can be a little bit upsetting. But, yeah, and speaking of Steph Curry as well, too, I saw something, and this was from I think a couple weeks ago, but it was just in my algorithm anyways, and it was still, it was just like a crazy summer take, so it still stands. But it'll always be a crazy take, regardless of how far away we get from time. But it was Isaiah Thomas, and it was almost a take that was so crazy that I was like, is this AI? Like, did somebody AI Isaiah Thomas on Draymond's pod? Talking about the Steph Curry Splash Bros. Sabrina has made how many? She made 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row? 9 in a row? Oh, she's making 9, 10 in a row! 11 in a row! Chat, what is happening? Hey, yo, Sabrina! Settle down! Leave some hope for the rest of us! Sabrina's got 21, 24! Has Alicia Gray even gone yet? Hey, yo! Can she get to 30? Has that ever happened? With the normal, you know, with this scoring setup, what's the highest? Is she going to break her own record? 28. She's going to get to 30. 29. Oh, we didn't just... No, she's at 30 right now. The score is slow, keeping up. 30 on the dot, chat. She made 5, 7, 8, 9 in a row. 10 in a row. 11 in a row. Hey, yo. Chat. Sabrina. She might be making a case as one of the greatest three-point shooting competitors. One of the greatest three-point shooting competitors of all time. I mean, you know, again, we get she's already in the argument for what she's able to accomplish skill set wise, off the dribble, off the catch and shoot stuff in the WNBA. Like, she's obviously, you know, one of the best to ever do it from the perimeter range already. But the 3-point element as well too. I mean, that can correlate to the real life factor as well, because I think for the NBA side of things, you know, Bird would be a guy that we would go, okay, is Bird gonna, and you know, same for just the confidence in a game. Like, just because Bird didn't shoot 40% from three for his entire career doesn't mean he doesn't necessarily get viewed as a 40%, you know, quote unquote 3-point shooter. But also, you feel like in just a 3-point contest setting, he could just go out there and just go perfect from the field potentially as well too. Whereas, you know, I guess, again, yeah, obviously other guards, you know, Michael Jordan couldn't perform in the 3-point contest. And I think he did actually one time, and they say he didn't do very well. There's footage of that, but not of the Wilt 100-point game. But Alicia Gray, not a great start. I don't know how many misses she gets when you need 31 to win, but she is, okay, she's back on track. You're going to have to make a bunch in a row. Oh, you're going to need the 4-pointers as well, too. So she's at 10 as she starts the top of the key. I don't think that puts her on pace, though. I'm just trying to project that. And I guess she's still... Oh, did she already go through the money ball rack? She did, right wing. She went 4 for 5 there, and she got the second 3-pointer. I guess they maybe make them 4-pointers this round, just to help out. But she'll get to the respectable mid-20s, maybe. Hey, yo, chat. She'll cross the 20-point mark. Yeah, she's at 19 right now. 20 points. There we go. She's a champion. Sabrina. It's 2 wins now. So, for the W, how many people have won this multiple times? Let's see if we can pull this up here. All-Star Weekend. Do they have a page here? All-Star Game. You got to have a page. Oh, 3-point contest. Yes, sir. We got one. Staley, Becky Hammond, Lori Cohen, Katie Douglas. Allie Quigley's won 4 times. Whoa. Quigley's won 4 times. Oh, even going into 2022. Hey, yo, chat. So as of recently. And then, she's the last not. So it's really, we need to get, is Quigley still playing? Can we get Quigley in the contest against Sabrina and against Alicia Gray? Just run it back with Alicia Gray. Still a recent champion as well. Wait a second. Let's see if we can track her down real quick. Hey, yo, whoa. I don't think we should, probably shouldn't have said it like that. But if we can just find her basketball reference page anyways and see what's going on. What was her? Oh, Quigley. Yeah, yeah. Let's see what we got here. Allie Quigley. Oh, 2022? Is she playing overseas? Oh, chat. Courtney Vandersloot. Hey, yo. And Allie Quigley. We got another WNBA power couple revealed. I guess it's just, again, which one's, just keeping a list. But let's see here. Yeah, 2022 is the last time that she has a season listed on here. So if we can bring her back, I guess we can get Mac McClung in the dunk contest, and the guy doesn't even play that. You have guys in the G League, then the Euro League or whatever. Even if she's not in the Euro League, just winning 4 3-point contests in a row. Even if it's an inter-contest sort of championship, Sabrina versus Allie Quigley, because I guess they would be the only multiple-time champions at this point. So I guess if Allie Quigley is winning every season, then literally nobody else can win. It is what it is. But for the NBA as well too, I don't know if they've had the same sort of repeat winners. Oh, speaking of our guy, yeah, so Bird won it 3 times. I guess, the one obviously becomes legendary with the performance and the remarks, but won a couple other times. Craig Hodges with 3 as well too. Stojakovic, Hornacek, Price, Capono, Steph, Lillard. I mean, you're always going to love Steph, of course, in any sort of 3-point competition. I do feel like Hornacek would be a good one as well too. Like, Hornacek could really lock in. And there is something about, again, the competitiveness of that type of thing. The open gym, nobody in front of you, everybody's watching. You got to take it off the rack, pause, and you got to just that. Whatever that style of competition is, it is a little bit different than real NBA basketball. It's not enough to, of course, I think, make it. I guess if you wanted to do like a power slap version of the 3-point contest and spin it off into its own league, you probably could. But I don't know if it necessarily, I don't know if you had the NBA guys in there, if it wouldn't be so dramatically different at the end of the day. But still, I think, a guy like Jeff Hornacek, like if Michael Jordan had to play it in only a 3-point competition league, like, does he win it 6 times? I mean, maybe you can win it more times as well too. Maybe they play a couple of seasons in a season. Who knows? But yeah, Hornacek's a good one. Stojakovic, Hodges, Bird, for sure. All these guys, like we were saying. Capono, shout out our guy Capono. Hey, yo, won it, back-to-back years. So Bird won it the first 3 years in a row. And then Hodges won it. Oh, Hodges also won it 3 years in a row. Price, 2 times. For sure. Our guy Legler? Yeah, chat. I mean, Legler, I'd have confidence in Legler in a 3-point contest. I'd throw a little money down on Legler. Legler would definitely be great odds. I feel like we might be able to be like, whoa, like Legler's just sitting here at like 17-1 to win the 3-point contest? What are we talking about? But Vashawn Leonard. Hey, yo. I can say, I don't remember him playing, but I feel like maybe in a past life? I don't know. But I guess it would have been a very recent past life. We would have been born, but not making memories. So making memories in a past life, and then I guess I don't know how that works. But Daquan Cook won a 3-point contest. You don't remember that as well too. Pierce, Bellinelli. The Bellinelli 3-point contest is iconic, of course. Spurs. Is that the only time we've had a 3-point contest winner? Is Bellinelli? I think so. Marco Bellinelli, and fortunately he was a crucial part to that title team. So it does make sense for him sort of in the Spurs history of it for him to be a Spurs guy. Like, Bellinelli's definitely a Spurs guy. And also, again, I don't know, you say fortunately, unfortunately, but he did not necessarily have, like, many more, like, documentary moments on the other teams that he played for necessarily. I mean, he had a 12-year career, he had a great run. 37% from 3. Yeah, he was always really consistent. How many? Okay, wait a second. He doesn't have him listed as a champion. Yeah, I was gonna say he's a champion. Why do we got? Oh yeah, 2014 champ. There it is. Okay, I didn't read that right the first time. Couple of 6 man of the year votes as well too. But then yeah, Charlotte, Atlanta, the Sixers, and then back. So Bellinelli pulled the Dame Lillard chat. Ayo, pause. He started in San Antonio, I guess to some degree, and then ended his career in San Antonio as well too. And for Portland, they don't have to trade for Dame back, so at some sense that is always going to be plus value. But it's not like again, Beal a little bit different. Beal's kind of like, okay, I'll take the minimum, give me a player option just in case, and we'll see what happens. But he's very close to minimum level stuff. What is he? He is 2-year. He might be that's got to be the minimum. $5 million a year for Bradley Beal. Again, like with his accolades as well too. I mean, clown him or whatever. Like it does increase his market value. So his minimum contract is just gonna be a little bit higher than some of the other guys' minimum contracts. It is what it is. But that's not a bad number for Dame as well too. Again, Dame is what is he on that stretch? So is the dead cap getting paid to Dame, or is Dame? I should have looked more into this when it actually happened. But here, let's go Dame Lillard buyout real quick and see what happens. Or I guess they waived him. They just straight up waived him and then stretched him. So, hey, whoa. Hey, yo, pause. But, yeah, Josh Hart, calls Dame's exit from the Bucks outrageous with $103 million. Oh, here, maybe actually this guy will break it down for us. Josh Hart explaining, left, $103 million left on the contract. But yeah, how much of that goes to Dame? Or is that just, again, it's like, okay, money that can't be paid to anybody. It just sits in escrow or whatever they call it. So yeah, they ended up signing Miles Turner to that contract essentially, but stretched the remaining 103 of his contract. Oh, so yeah, just the entire thing. So you just cut him? No guaranteed money on top of that? I guess we'll have to go back and look at those details. But either way, he's recouping a little bit of a okay amount. He's just under $15 million a year from his Bucks News $6.1 million buyout. Secured a $6 million year buyout with Micic to make room for free agency. So they paid him $6 million and then just stretched and waived the rest of his contract, I guess, if we're getting that right. Hey, yo, Business 101 chat. We got it. We're locked in. We know what we're doing. Well, we should play more 2K, and then we'd obviously know the rules. It is what it is. But, yeah, so 3 for 42 is not bad. But, I didn't really know what the Blazers were doing when they traded Simons as well, too. It felt like Simons, I don't know if that would have been. I mean, I guess we love holidays. So at the end of the day, who knows what was out there for Simons? And, I guess I was just like, okay, if me and Sam would want to have traded for Drew Holiday, then I don't think we would have had necessarily the longest conversation about that. But if Simons was on the table, it would probably push it into meal time, that's for sure. So, yeah, 14, 13, 14 on another player option. Got the flexibility in the last year, just in case he really goes crazy, I guess, in 26, 27. So does he know to, I guess he's got to recover this year as well, too. So it is what it is. He goes back as a leader. So he's going to make $14 million this year to hang out. Yeah, you know what? It is what it is. I mean, again, he's Dave. He was great for the team. So you're not necessarily going to be upset in the grand scheme of things about paying Dame Lillard. Again, are they gonna make a title winning move? You can never put it off the table, but are they gonna make a title winning move with that $14 million? Who knows? And to be honest, maybe the Blazers are even more cold blooded than we think, because maybe they're like, okay, well, now we have a contract to trade. We have a $14 million contract to trade. And again, a tradable one is we'll do a guy like Advia. You say, yeah, he's a $13 million contract, but Advia not tradable. Let me let you guys in on a little secret here. I don't know if you guys have. I'm not saying we're wiretapping the Blazers office here. I'm not giving out that kind of, top secret information. But I am letting you know right now that Advia, he's just untradeable. It is what it is. You just can't trade that guy. He's too valuable and too cost effective. It is what it is. But Yeah, and for Holiday. So wait, where's Holiday? Holiday at the 32, and I guess Holiday is the he's also the other contract. If you needed to make a move somehow, I guess if you were getting Giannis's buddy Dame, or I guess Dame's buddy Giannis. Ayo, what were we saying? They already got Giannis's buddy Dame, so if they're getting Dame's buddy Giannis, do they think that Dame and Giannis got close in Milwaukee like that? They're like, Dame, if you come back to Portland, then obviously we can lure Giannis over here because he wants to keep playing with Dame Lillard. Did he have that kind of experience with that season in Milwaukee? I just don't know. But at the leadership stuff, I feel like if he is comfortable in his situation, because that can't be underrated. And again, that was also a veteran team as well too. So it's not like a team that necessarily, like, I feel like Dame's leadership would have been a more on the court leadership at that point. And to be honest, again, it's not like, I don't think there was ever, I can't remember a report that was like, oh, Dame was trending the other direction with this stuff. It was just a little bit more, maybe him front office, him, I don't know, him coaches, just him and the fans, him in the city. I don't know what was going on there. But, I just can't really recall. So again, maybe that's just me not being tuned in, but there wasn't any like, once Marjan Beauchamp got traded, he was like, oh, this Dame Lillard guy is actually kind of crazy. But yeah, you imagine that he'll be inspiring to the locker room as he's rehabbing, I guess. $14 million worth of inspiration for the locker room. It is what it is. But you get him back next year. You have a good guard. You already got Holiday, who can be your starting veteran guard if you need him to. And you obviously have, Scoot and Sharp and Kamara and all the other guys that we were mentioning for the sort of longer term options. Because on one hand as well too, you think, okay, we could think about the path of the confusing path of Dame Lillard from Portland back to Portland, or well, wait a second. Did I mute the mic in time? I think I did. It was just there. Excuse me, chat. But yeah, we could think about the confusing timeline for him in his journey back to Portland, and for what his expectations were at one point, and for what his contract was at one point, and for what his contract, what for the money that is going out there still is for him. But on the other hand, again, if you kind of just go, okay, veteran leadership for again, the contract stuff is different as well now too. Like, you might just necessarily need your guy that's just going to be your veteran leader on a minimum deal. It is what it is. But still, there's a version of him as a role player on obviously a $14 million a year salary that is still very beneficial. Even with the way he was playing last year, if he played last year and he was making that kind of money, again, who am I to talk? But you get what I'm saying. I think if there was a correlation for performance to numbers, well, maybe this would be one that would, be a little bit more at ease for everybody's mind. But yeah, they even gave up picks in that Drew Holiday deal to Simons and Holiday, because they pay Holiday. The question was, do they want to pay Simons? So maybe you lose a couple of years there with Holiday. So is Simons on like a 5-year deal at this point, and then it'd be this season on this season on the 20 mil, and then maybe you don't have to give Simons a 5-year deal. These guys want to hit free agency as well too. Especially at this point, I don't feel like you want the 5-year deal. Well, I don't know. Maybe you never want the 5-year deal at this point. You want the 3 or the 4, the 4 with the player option probably, 2 with the player option, 3 with the player option, 5 if it's the super max contract like Shea is getting. So unless, Simons is getting that contract, then you could probably get him on a 3-4 year deal with the player option there. Maybe even a real hefty team option in that 4th season. I don't know if he'd have that kind of trust in the Blazers, but if it's good money, you just never know what kind of risk he'd be willing to take. So, at the end of the day, having Dame and Drew with the young guys that they have, because any mix match of that could be interesting at some point. Even in 26, 27, I know you don't necessarily project this team out that far, because even this year could still be this season could be a team of figuring out these young guys. Like we're saying, even the forwards, like as much as we're locked in on like, Advia is the guy going forward. They still have, of course, there's Chris Murray and Rupert as well too. Where's that guy Rupert at? I got to list him as guard here. And Sissoko, they got our guy Sissoko from the Spurs. Hey yo, but you could have, of course, the Scoot Sharp backcourt, or I guess they got Kamara listed at forward as well. He's a little playmaking forward-ish though. And I mean, you're gonna have a point center in Henson Yang. They've got a lot of like they've got. Do we just call this team like Noah's Ark? Ayo, they just got 2 of every position. Ayo, pause. Whoa, but they got 2 centers, 2 point guards, 2. I mean, again, you look at the Bleacher Report graphic of that. We did once they signed Dame Lillard. It was the Dame. Blazers have a squad post, and it's like, well, this squad is the 2026-27 squad because Dame Lillard is. But there might be some playoff stuff. So Blazers, if you make the playoffs, you could get Dame Lillard back for the playoffs. It is what it is. I guess the ultimate version of this trade is now that Dame is at the $13 to $14 million a year. Is at some point in the season, Milwaukee calls and is like, hey, can we get Dame on a contract for next year for 13 to 14 million? I don't know what they have right now. If they trade Miles Turner for Dame Lillard, because for some reason that just goes so south, then my brain would be broken at that point. Somehow it's like Miles Turner for Dame and Rob Williams or something like that. And you'd be like, oh, that's an interesting trade for the Bucks. That would, of course, be. I guess him on an expiring. And then you get Miles Turner back if you're Portland. They love locking guys down to deals, obviously, as we see here. So Caleb Love already on the 2-way. Shout out. Oh, dead money, $25 million to Ayton. So that's only for 1 season. Not too bad. Delano Banton, unrestricted free agent. They haven't brought him back. So wait a second. I guess Dame, again, not for this year, but is Dame going to take the Banton minutes? Hopefully they don't not re-sign Banton because they got Dame. Hey, yo. What's wrong with Banton? I thought our guy was balling out at points last year. Banton and Kamara? That's your backcourt right there. That's your secondary unit right there. For sure. I guess 32% for 3 is not great. 16 a game in 23-24 in 30 games with Portland. Yeah, he was balling out 2 years ago. So we've really got that stuck in our mind, that stretch, those 16 games. Last season did apparently not replicate that, but still give him a chance. It is what it is. So shout out to Dame going to Portland. And shout out to our guy, Brad Beal. He's on the Clippers, which, make no mistake, is absolutely the perfect team for him. I mean, in both, I think, the good ways and the bad ways, where in one sense the Clippers are, of course, the historic franchise where the player's career, if you want to go ahead and finish off the rest of your career, Chad, if you want a little euthanasia for your basketball career, just go ahead and go to the Clippers. They'll go ahead and just end your basketball career right there. It'll just stop the basketball reference pages for a lot of guys, and that's not true for everybody. Obviously, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, there's some guys that have had really good Clippers runs. But historically, the Clippers, not necessarily the highlight of a lot of guys' stops for franchises. So in some ways, it's like, is it time for Bradley Beal? We're sending him to the Clippers, shit! I don't know. But on the other hand, it is an interesting mix of talent where they've tried to build this sort of everybody's an independent creator type lineup, and as much as he's still, you have Durant and Booker in Phoenix, who is just about as good of a tandem that you're going to get there. If you have Beal playing in that mix, you're really close to what the Clippers are trying to get for, with everybody being that sort of independent creator. But again, you do have Zubats on the Clippers. I mean, you did have Norm Powell and stuff, of course, and now that is Bradley Beal. But Chris Dunn was really good defensively for him last year. So was Derek Jones Jr. And they have Bogdanovich. They ever got Bogdanovich? I think Batum. I don't know. Batum at 37. I don't know how much you're gonna be asking for him for next year. But as your 9th man, maybe it's even more enticing for him going forward. And you have also 37-year-old Brook Lopez. But again, you got Zubac still as your main starting center. So unlike the Clippers with Brook Lopez and the Suns with Bradley Beal, they have ways to sort of supplement those guys a little bit, where it's a little tough, I think, to look at it and go, and I'm sure, again, it's cost cutting, it's saving money on the tax. Norm Powell is like a $20 million a year guy, where Bradley Beal's a $5 million a year guy. That $15 million difference is probably crazy on the tax. And Ballmer's the one guy that doesn't really need to worry about saving money, I think, for an NBA team, but again, I feel like it's just sometimes good principle. And you don't want to get into the second apron stuff in too many years as well, too, because it does actually have effects if you have with the repeater stuff that can't hit, and some of your first round picks being frozen. I don't know what other kind of trade rules are in there, but it does even affect your team more so. So it does make sense to cut some costs. Ayo. It does make sense to cut some costs, but the idea of turning Beal into Norm Powell is a little bit of a, at least from a entertainment guys, the Rem and Sam pod guys we like watching. Norm Powell is definitely a little higher on the list than he might be for a lot of people. So that is definitely going to be gone from LA. But just his consistency last year's Wilt 2 is not going to be there. So that is what it is. So I don't know if it's necessarily you get better in that spot. And they did bring in John Collins for an expiring contract. And there is talk about, did Harden kind of, was he pushing for a certain type of player on the team? And then they were like, well, okay, John Collins fits that mold. At least let's just take a swing on him. But, again, John Collins is not like a creative bucket for your guy type self. But if he's almost more of a, maybe he's almost even more, the backup center than Lopez is, or backup wing depth as well too. But him with Harden and Kawhi, and honestly they need to, if they had Norm Powell still, if they still had Norm Powell, I would really love Beal on the, well, I don't know if I'd really love Beal on this team, but I feel like that would be a really good situation for him to have that. Just have how many creators can we have around him? But a minimum contract now, it sort of resets the expectations. And he did have some moments. Unfortunately, he had some playoff moments that are maybe some of the most close your eyes playoff moments that we've had from a basketball player in recent moments since the fourth quarters. But he is still in the numbers a very consistent 3-point shooter, and if they're able to unlock that, then that is fine. And the other thing about Beal going to the Clippers as well too, like we were kind of saying earlier about the franchise expectations, but just the expectations that unfortunately Harden and Kawhi have set for this team. Like, we don't really have expectations for this team next year. It is what it is. Like, it's unfortunate. We still, I think, all know that they're a good team and would not be surprised if they were a menacing regular season team. Maybe anytime they're a menacing. And maybe we just would watch them and go, oh, man, the visual of what they are when they're playing great basketball does seem like the best version of basketball that you could get in the league at times. But whatever the formula is, obviously in the playoffs, it's just not working. So the idea of adding Bradley Beal in the mix for this one, not moving the needle in the Western Conference is helpful to the Spurs, but he doesn't necessarily, I don't want to be disrespectful to Bradley Beal, but it's good for him as well too. But there's no crazy expectations, I guess, either way for Beal in a situation, because this Clippers team is just kind of like, you know what? Honestly, whatever happens next year is what happens. If next year's the year where this all falls, like literally just all falls apart, and we're not even in the playoffs or out in the play-in game or something just absolutely disastrous, and we go, okay, now we're burning it down in the middle of the season. Ballmer's collecting the insurance on his team. Like, I don't know what's going on. But if they're just like, okay, there's all the signs are pointing here to now's the time to go, then it doesn't feel like the expectations are, and maybe it never has, of course, over the last couple seasons, but it doesn't really feel like the expectations are that they're breaking up a title team. But on the other hand, again, it's still Harden, Kawhi, and Bradley Beal, I guess now. But Zubats is getting better as well too. So if Zubats is like a real dude, a real third player, maybe even a real second guy, I don't know. But his playmaking will be fun. I don't know if him and Harden don't necessarily get along. That could be a disaster. But whatever version of playmaker he is, should be next to those two guys, should be fine. Because again, the offense was always decent when he was playing out there. I mean, it wasn't just, it was either his just for some reason game just kind of fell apart a little bit in moments, and it was like, oh man, he's turning the ball over, this is just going disastrous. But it's like, okay, when we're locked in and going here, this is just about as nice of an offense as you can get with these three guys, sort of the movement and the perimeter shooting, the dynamic that they create. So maybe the defensive effort of some of the defensive ability of some of the guys around him, where maybe there is the Kawhi, and maybe Beal is a little interesting. And again, you have this with Norm Powell as well too, but we'd have to go back and look and see last year. I guess I'm just chalking up like what would be their commitment to have lineups without James Harden in them. But I don't know if it's Kawhi and he's able, and you have that guard out there, but that guard's more of a secondary playmaker, then you have to run the offense through him. Then maybe that's able to sustain in the playoffs. If of course Kawhi's able to stay in the playoffs, which unfortunately it's just not necessarily something that we'd have to get really good odds on that to be putting some money on that at this point. But if there was a team that I wanted Bradley Beal to go to, this would have been the team. You know, him in Miami, now it's like Miami has to, you know, deal with the Bradley Beal storylines, and Pat Riley's going to get he's the guy that signed Bradley Beal. It's like Bradley Beal's honestly, if Bradley Beal was on the Spurs on a minimum, I don't think that would be the worst thing in the world either. Again, we have a lot of guards, and I don't know if he brings like a Chris Paul level leadership to the locker room necessarily. But I do feel like that, you know, his off-ball creation and stuff can still be pretty useful at times, and he can still step up and play sort of secondary point guard if you need him as well too. Defensively, you know, we'll have to see. But this is great. Bradley Beal on the Clippers. I'm all for it. I love that this happened. And we also did get a Clippers got a squad post as well too. So anytime that is around, you know we love that. But, yeah, chat, tonight, I guess technically yesterday, but this week is the 10th anniversary for our guy Future, dropping a classic project, DS2. So after the break, we're going to fire it up. We're going to relive it 10 years later and just remember how iconic this man's music was. I guess, hey, yo, it sounds like Future, it still is. But I guess we got to remember how iconic that music was specifically, because it still obviously lives on in a major way. So, 10 years later, chat, we'll be celebrating the Future classic DS2 right after this. All right, chat, here we go. We got it about ready, fired up here. DS2. Of course, shout out to our guy, Future, 10 years later. Looking back on one of the great, of course, just years that anybody has had from a release volume standpoint in hip-hop, just in music in general. And I think this one, of course, stands out, the studio album of them all, as one of the most iconic projects, as still, you know, maybe the most iconic in his discography as well, too. And featuring probably the most iconic stock photo of all time, with the album cover, which is literally just that with the little logo in the corner. I don't know if there is a stock photo in like a movie. You know, is there like a family picture in a movie that's really famous? That's like actually a stock photo or something like that. Is the painting that Martin Scorsese's mom is drawing in at the dinner scene? I guess, you know, Joe Pesci's mom. It's actually Martin Scorsese's mom. Is the painting that she's drawing actually a stock photo? Is that a stock photo of the paw? The paw, what do you call it? The hoof. Is that a stock photo of the hoof? I don't know. But we got a stock photo here for our guy. Shout out. Somehow still feels like masterful curation and still somehow artwork. But yeah, we got one of the great projects here. Here, we'll just get it fired up and see what we have going. Do we have it playing off the right spot? I mean, obviously, you know, some of the most iconic bars of maybe Future's. What are these Future's most iconic bars? Is that a hot take? Again, sometimes with the mixtapes and Future's most like a lot, you know, most, but a lot of Future's catalog for sure. I guess I wouldn't know the percentage of it that's on streaming compared to not. You know, for a guy like Wayne who maybe has more unreleased material, but you know, he does have, of course, a lot of his mixtapes and stuff already on here. But you know, again, for a guy like me, I'm going to be hovering in a lot of the major projects for a lot of these guys. It is what it is. We just span, our listening goes more throughout time than it does just like, okay, instead of going through everybody's, like, instead of going through 6 people's entire catalog, we'll like listen to 20 people's #1 album, if that music math makes sense. It's like, okay, maybe I don't know every Janet Jackson song, but at least I'll listen to some of her hits, and then some of this person hits, and then some of this person hits. But yeah, I think you get the picture. But you know, for his major albums and stuff, I don't know if there would be, you know, just more. And I guess, you know, it depends on what you're thinking as well too. I guess we're not just like ranking what is the greatest Future. Like, has somebody done that? Has somebody ranked what is the best Future bars? I guess, is it gonna understand what we're asking when it says that here? Best Future bars ranked. Because this would be, if you were like, okay, just like quote a Future verse. I mean, this is probably gonna be the one that you start with. I don't know. Apparently nobody's done this ranking. I guess, of course, there is, as you would guess, the Reddit forums and stuff for it. But there is, of course, nobody's actually done like an actual list, which maybe IT get on it. We can actually, pause, get a iconic bar ranking. But I would say, you know, his most are you getting all of his most iconic stuff on this album? What does it say? Oh, this person just says, I put my we got bars from My Legacy chat on favorite Future verses. Some verses, some PP verses in here for sure. Sold crack to a pregnant lady. Forgive me for the crack, baby. Hey, yo, Future is, of course, always never been afraid to, you know, have a little fun. But of course, I think, I don't know if you're getting his most iconic song as well, too, because now with the streaming era stuff and, you know, with his continued rise as well, too. I mean, and, you know, with the success of the last album as well, there has been, different stuff with the streaming. And he's so good on the features that a lot of his just most individual stream stuff is on the features as well too. And he's never been a guy where it feels like, because there's some artists as well where it feels like, okay, they, and you're not trying to be disrespectful, but if you're just trying to project out some of the stuff for their career, you're like, okay, I mean, they were definitely helped in the success of this by the fact that they were featured on this. It does, of course, feel the other way around, where Future is like, oh man, this is part of the reason why the song is as successful as it is. But I don't know if in the streaming numbers, this album has necessarily the songs with the individual streams on it. Let's see here. What his most... Oh, I guess here, if we look on the album, the numbers are going to be here anyways. Oh, yeah, so nothing... Yeah, only a couple over 100 mil. I guess, F some commas, we got 350 million plus on that one. Oh, and of course, I guess where you at with Drake is 326. Hey, yo, Chad, I'm kind of shocked at the low... Oh, Percocet and Stripper Joint is... Or are we allowed to say these? IT, is YouTube going to take us down? We got that at 278 million as well too. But again, I think for the do we have to say for the ones that know? Hey, yo, chat. Are people not bumping DS2 like we thought? Or I guess not like we thought, but is it just not quite in the rotation again? And he is, like we're saying, with some of the individual songs, maybe he's had some albums where you wouldn't go through it and go like, okay, every song on here is streaming more than a song on DS2, but the hits are, really going crazy off of that. So, yeah, of course, like we're saying, F Up Some Commas is his 28th most streamed song in general. For songs just in his solo catalog alone, he's got Mask Off, his most streamed song in general, at 1.9, Life is Good 1.3, Low Life 1.1, Wait for You 1.1, Like That 820 million, and then Solo, the track, 646 million. Tiger, we got that at 593 million. Puffin' on Zooties, 556 million, and Fine China, 523 million. And then it goes to the F Up Some Commas at 353 million. So, yeah, I mean, just the streamers, the hip hop guys with the songs in the 1 billion club as well too. I bet he's got to be... I mean, if we're just going purely off the numbers, the safest guess, obviously, is Drake is number one. Kendrick at this point, he's going to be somewhere in the list. Is he 2, 3? He's going to be more up there now. And he's going to, especially, the closer we get to the end of the year, he's one that his numbers will continue to catch up as well, too. But, speaking of Kendrick and speaking of that feature that he had, and a lot of the stuff that, came out of the beef as well, too, of course, with the Drake-Kendrick storylines. But I think in the moment as well, too, is going underrated, but even still, the retroactive stuff, that the guy that just continues to get underrated, and I guess everybody outside of Kendrick and Drake in this situation is underrated at this point, but, properly, too, like, the guys at the top, performed, I guess, for the most part, well, and then, the winner is definitely, Kendrick is definitely deserving of everything afterwards. But the guy that has just been underrated this entire time has been Future. And the two things that I have been thinking about, of course, is the Kendrick verse about where he's like, there's no big three, there's just big me. And then, he's got the cut, Future's got the cut of Charlemagne on the second album that him and Metro did, We Still Don't Trust You, where he's got Charlemagne say like, it's not really a big three, it's a big four with, Future in the mix with Kendrick and Drake and J. Cole as well. And, at the end of the day, there is obviously no way to retroactively go back and what we were thinking about those guys as peers in the moment in terms of the big three, and, in terms of the way it is going to be going forward, that is another thing. And with the way that does, of course, retroactively sort of change the, just how we put into perspective the rest of their careers as well, too. But again, just the in the moment conversation about the stuff, like we can't necessarily, take away from the honesty of some of that stuff as well too. But maybe there was, maybe the big three was really more Drake, Future, and then J. Cole, and then maybe Kendrick really, this entire time, of course, just has been in the tier his own self. I mean, the thing is, critically, Drake was hanging in there as well too, like, and statistically as well. He would, because again, Kendrick is selling more than all these guys as well too for all of his albums, so he is right up there. But again, if we're going on numbers, Drake had his numbers. I don't know if we go back and look into those and see what happened. He had his numbers. So is Future like one for one competing with all these guys? Like Future is a little bit like, I don't know who the good NBA comparison is, because maybe for a while there, Jokic's stats might have been like, once you get to near the triple double range, it's always going to be an alert. But his stats might have been like, okay, the little bit underneath what he's actually totally capable of. But again, it's like, okay, what he's totally capable of is just like insane stuff. So Future is obviously that too. But Future might be the NBA guy that's like, okay, his stat line from the season is he maybe a little Ginobili-esque, where like, okay, is he putting up like 19 a game in the regular season? It's his album debuting at number 1, like on the exact level of everybody, of like a Kendrick and Drake's albums and stuff like that. It's like, okay, are the numbers, they are what they are. But it does, he's always in like the most selling. It's like the most impactful. It's like, okay, if he's on the court, he's gonna be a winning level player at the end of the day. And he has crossed over into the critical acclaim aspect of his career as well too, which again is not necessarily the most important factor for all this stuff, but is something that I think reflects the conversation that can happen as well too, in some aspects of it, for sure. Where, and again, if we look back at an album, we're just on Marco. Oh, I guess I'm on Marco Bellinati's page. We still got. Oh, do I not have Spotify pulled up in the back? Sorry, people. I didn't realize I had it collapsed in the background. My bad. Okay, so yeah, we're just on track 3. But we've got like we're saying, okay, are the stats the exact same? But the impact would still be there, and now it has definitely crossed over to the next level. And this album, like we're saying as well too, if we went back and actually ranked, 2015 of course is an iconic stack year. Future is a part of that as well too, and this album is a part of that. Is this the exact like number 1 album from that year or whatever would have been in that period, in that time as well too? But it does kind of end up working itself out. Like, the award shows are all weird like that, where maybe, and sometimes at the end of the day, the stats are all weird as well too. We're like, oh, this guy got all the nominations, or this, whatever, in whatever award show, in whatever category. But, and I guess we look at history, unfortunately, usually is this guy just got all the nominations. But, for the 15 years specifically, and for Future's career, and for some of the guys, it's like, okay, it does kind of, the numbers do add up, where it's like, okay, if you cover like which ones got nominated and which ones didn't, it's like, okay, this guy got a couple nominations, a couple wins, and the historic stuff still all kind of makes sense. But of course, I would still say that this is probably his best start to finish project, and just the maybe best, most iconic, just however you want to phrase it as well too, because this is that big break into continued critical acclaim. Because if you go back and look at some of the stuff again, like we're talking, I guess, the critical acclaim from like the actual Grammy Award show and stuff, like his stuff is always just really well reviewed and really highly praised, as it should be in the moment. There was a little bit of like, okay, that second album, like what was going on there, and then as he prepares for this third one, he really gets locked in, and you really see the growth in the writing as well too. But that is something that I think is special about Future in his aspect, compared to a guy like Drake and Kendrick as well too, and maybe even more so than Kendrick in this aspect. Like, I'm not saying that he's more of a one of one than Kendrick, but it does seem like Kendrick pays very obvious homages to his influences, and very like he'll make efforts to do things in ways where it's like, okay, this is going to be reflective of this type of guy. But you do also see, of course, a lot of some of the West Coast influences before him. in the personality and in the type of music that he makes, and just in some of the stuff that he's pursuing in his career in general. And now, of course, and obviously throughout time, has there obviously been a sort of bling party aspect to what these guys have been talking about. I mean, for sure. But with what Future was going for early on, and with the sort of very vile images that he's painting, and to be able to weave in some of the creative storytelling as well too, does put him on a level that where you get some of the guys as well too. Like, you can't necessarily, I mean, I guess you can obviously do whatever you want, but if you're just, I guess for whatever my specific music taste would be for however you're going to make the rotation, I guess at the end of the day, obviously working with great producers as well too is usually going to help. If you're one of the first guys to be working with Metro Boomin in a big way, that's definitely going to help as well too. The Southside production and all the other great Atlanta producers that he's working with on these projects are going to make it better for sure. But the advancements that he's taking lyrically in this album are definitely there, and he has definitely, I think, moved his tone a little. At least on Never Liked You, he was going for, it definitely fits the vibe of sort of the luxurious cover and what he's going for there. And then the We Don't Trust You as well too, where he's got the diss stuff going on. Like, the aesthetic of that album definitely makes a lot of sense for sure. And he's always still had his signature way to communicate his point. But especially with his flow as well too, and with what he's doing melodically, this guy on the Grizzlies kind of looks like Future. Hey, yo, Chad, shout out Christian Shoemate. But at the free throw line right now, swish, he got it. Did I just say the Grizzlies? This is the Pelicans. The Pelicans have Grizzlies-looking uniforms. It is what it is. But where's the yellow in the Pelicans uniforms? I don't know why the Pelicans uniforms out yellow looks like the Grizzlies, but it just does. So I guess, going up against the Pacers, you got a little yellow-blue contrast there. But, it's going to be dominant white either way. Pause, but you get what we're saying on the jersey. They're going to be in the opposite colorways. So, a little New Orleans Pelicans full trim wouldn't necessarily be a little way to set it apart. And they do get some red in the jerseys as well too sometimes. But Summer League's simple, so we're gonna be burning ink on the jerseys, chat. Hey yo, but for our guy Future again, and I was trying to read up some stuff as well too about, and I guess I didn't Google search who are Future's influences, but I was just trying to read some stuff, and it's because again with certain guys as well too, and it's one of the great things about Kendrick. But when he's talking, Cole is like this as well too. And I mean Drake for sure as well. When they talk, they're definitely referencing a lot of the legends that have influenced them. I mean love of the game and those guys that inspired him is just going to be naturally there all the time, and it just is there in conversation. So again, not saying the Future doesn't have those, but he is always when he's talking, he's paying, and I guess Kendrick does this as well too, where he's talking about people in his circle more so, and people in his life that are directly influence him more than I was listening to this person. And again, this is just in the few stuff that I was reading this time around, not necessarily, because I wanted to see if it was just in conversation without necessarily being okay, the top 5 people that Future has cited as were who inspired him. And again, working in the South as well too, and working with some of the Southern producers, a lot of the way the trap scene was developing in Atlanta, I mean, he is definitely again following that with his production for sure, but with his sound and with his flow and with his lyrical content and putting it all together, that's a unique mix of, I guess, an on mic performance. That as an on mic guy, he is kind of a one of one in a way. And again, all the great ones are one of ones more so. And really the only people I think you can look at for Future that are more similar are people now. And in a weird way, I don't, could you say that Future is the more influential one at this point? And especially, with his influence on Cardi as well too, and with the way Cardi has inspired the next generation. Is it a little, you know, MJ Kobe-ish as well, where a lot of the guys cite Kobe as the guy now? But, you know, I feel like people still are obviously citing MJ as like, oh, yeah, I want to be MJ for sure. And, you know, people are still citing Future as a guy that inspires, I'll make no mistake, and his longevity as well, too. You know, I mean, you know, can we compare Future to MJ? Has Future had a, you know, longer career? Hey, yo, pause. I guess, you know, we're 10 years from DS2, so MJ was what, like 15 years for his career? Is that 15 years? That's 15 years playing years, not just the span of 15 years. Because, yeah, that would have just been into the 90s. So even with the couple of missed years there, I still think got to 15 seasons played. Oh, wait, are we in the bracket stage for Summer League? Hey, yo, Championship Sunday? Raptors versus Kings in the semis. Hornets versus the Thunder in the other matchup. Imagine the Thunder win Summer League and the NBA Championship, chat. Is Topic playing this well? Is Topic still playing? Hey, yo, of course the Thunder have the better Summer League team. And I guess the Pacers don't have a chance because they had that semifinal set already. So is this for just some random, who knows what? I guess I don't even know what teams I've said at this point, chat. But are the Pelicans? They're 0-4. So I don't even know why they're playing right now. But Pacers are 2-2. I guess, you know, shout out. And the Lakers are up, I guess, one more time. Bronny. I guess so everybody just gets 5 Summer League games. And then, because I feel like they used to maybe have a little bit more. So they definitely changed the rules. Because I feel like when the Spurs won Summer League a couple years ago, when we locked into the rules, it was, you play 3 games and then you go into a tournament. But now it's maybe it is play 3 games and they just see the top teams. I don't know. I'm probably not going to look up the Summer League rules either. But shout out to the teams that are at the top, I guess. Pause. With the chance to win the Summer League title. I mean, you know, it's once if you're in any tournament and you're playing and you're a competitive person, you're going to want to win. So, and I mean, especially for this opportunity as well too. So, yeah, I'm a fan of the idea of, you know, Summer League and the idea of being like, yeah, it's cool that they win it, and it's cool that this team had a great performance in the tournament. But yeah, so yeah, because again, you know, it's not like it's just, you know, with the Commissioner's Cup as well too, it's like a separate thing with the same guys. You know, it's obviously like a whole different set of guys and different opportunities and stuff. But yeah, like we're saying, Future is in some ways, I guess, you know, and I guess how do you calculate influence as well too, and the legendary guys even still are arguably as influential as they've ever been, because, you know, it still feels like the legacies of Tupac and Big are, you know, still very present even in the next generation, like, and especially, and maybe even part of that, well, you know, it's always going to be them just being the legends just being carried on and passed down. So I mean, the presence are very strong with the, you know, the generation that is in the peak of the powers right now, and even the guys that are like, okay, this generation is now entering the peak of their powers and all this different stuff. But I mean, even still, you know, like we're saying, Future is right there with these guys in terms of the ability to still have the output this far in their career, where you're looking at, you know, the big 3 of Kendrick, Drake, and J. Cole, and like, oh yeah, you know, they're still, whatever you want to say about, you know, 7-minute drill. Might Delete Later is a mixtape random project that he honestly, like, I guess some of the pieces were kind of already in place, but threw a lot of it together, I think, in the moment as well too, as just kind of a thing. So, and I guess, you know, you could say that Kendrick probably did that with GNX as well too, so, you know, even proves that. But you know, again, his output this year in terms of still having the popularity, the influence, the draw, the ability to still be a event type guy, and the ability to still feel like he's trending upward as well too, which is the crazy part for Kendrick. And, you know, that's the part about Drake that got taken for granted a little bit, was, you know, it just became established that Drake was the number one guy, and we entered the streaming era, and he was so influential in the crossover into the streaming era, and is just kind of the number one guy to start. I mean, you think, again, I'm not necessarily going to get the Spotify timeline right with all this stuff, but if like 2016 stuff is starting to kind of shift around in a major way, you know, we're obviously right in the Views Scorpion era of Drake, and then what that is doing for streaming. And, you know, I mean, that stuff obviously being some of the early success, it's still some of the biggest streaming numbers hits that we have is the stuff from those projects and those projects alone. But the ability to still be feeling like there is more in the tank is just a crazy thing to have from these guys at this point in their careers. And even with Cole, as much as, maybe, the fall off is a little, we're confident in our guy for sure, but I think with Kendrick, it was like, okay, like, when are we getting the project? And I think with J. Cole, it is obviously when are we getting the project, but there is the kind of what is the project going to be as well, too. And Kendrick has the bar of his own classics, but there, I think, is just a confidence there in him as an album maker as well, too, in terms of the standard, just for any artist anywhere. But again, it still feels like there's his sound is progressing, his persona, like we're saying, Future, even subtly different versions of himself on the album. It feels like there's different aesthetics. Him and Metro Boomin, their powers collabing in a different way. Because even still, with Metro Boomin's influence on this album, I would say that this is still probably my favorite Metro Boomin and Future album, even more so than the projects that they dropped in 2024. The Don't Trust You, I guess the Don't Trust You albums, is that what we call them? But those two projects. So, but to be able to still have that stuff, and again, for Cole, for his writing to continue to still feel like it's progressing, and his sound as well too, and the way that he is styling his soul production feels like it, a little more darker over the last couple of albums, even with some of the stuff that he's going for now. So there's, maybe not darker, but just a little bit of a different vibe, a different sound for the stuff that he's going for. And again, if we're just looking at the level of the projects in the discography, and I think the NFR pod has made this point before, so shout out to them, but you could argue that Future's albums in the 2020s have been better than Drake's albums in the 2020s, and I think it's pretty close. I think Drake's albums are a little underrated as well too, just for the totality of the replay value of a lot of those projects. But and again, with the streaming era, projects like CBL and even For All the Dogs are still really massive streaming hits. But the quality of the projects and the quality of some of the top hits, like, it's pretty close, obviously, for what Future has been able to accomplish. So he is right there. And like I'm saying, I can't say that we can go back and say, well, it was actually this is actually what the big three was, and Kendrick is and it's not like, oh, Kendrick wasn't up there as well too, because you could say with the way that he was winning all the critical awards, and part of it was some of the relationships with the artists to the award shows is a little bit different, where it never necessarily feels like, am I just not necessarily knowing that Kendrick has obviously taken shots at the media and taken shots at the people that have fired at him, but it never seems like he has taken shots at award shows and caused beef in that type of way. So, hey, maybe that's obviously probably part of it. But, it's not like his projects weren't worthy of any of the awards as well, too. It's not like they were just like, oh, well, we just like Kendrick the most, so we'll just give him the best just give him the the awards. But Future is the guy that we have to look back at and say, yes, he is operating on that level the entire time, and even still, whatever big three, sub big four it is, he is right there. And I don't even maybe the sports analogy would be Carmelo for that Heat big three, where of course Wade, Bosh, and LeBron. It does feel maybe a little Chris Bosh-ish. If Melo was on the Heat, because I feel like Chris Bosh is still okay, Chris Bosh is now, somehow Melo's going to get, they couldn't make Chris Bosh work as a third guy, but we'll make Melo work as a third guy, and then Chris Bosh, sorry, you're taking another back seat. But it's okay, he is still right up there with some of these guys in the impact stuff, if he's your third guy, if he's your second best guy as well too. I think Future's probably a little better than Chris Bosh. Hey, yo, shout out Chris Bosh. I do feel like Chris Bosh, if he was your number two, peak of his powers, he definitely could have gotten it done, for sure. You never know. Chris Bosh is your best player. You just never know. Like, could Future win the Grammy for best rap album? Like, I guess is that the equivalent of winning a title? I mean, it's a pretty big accomplishment. And I think for as much as the music guys, and I think even the movie guys, as much as all the industry people say they don't want the awards, obviously, I think the people still definitely want the awards for sure. They're definitely still pretty meaningful, and I'm all for it. The competitiveness is good, and it is what helps push everything forward and make everything better. But yeah, again, his dominance is really crazy. And I was thinking about a lot too, his 2015 versus the year that Kendrick had in 2024, and whatever the sort of crossover 2024 to 2025 run is with the Super Bowl, sort of the spring to spring run there with the Super Bowl and with the award shows and with the start of the tour and just launching off all the different stuff. The year that he had was definitely crazy, again, with all the different accolades that he was achieving and the height that he was achieving them. And again, he was doing great stuff. But just in terms of a musical output type year, I mean, you could still argue that Future's 2015 was better. I think, again, the level of the individual tracks of what Kendrick was dropping, he was obviously really in his bag for the beef. I mean, we got probably up there with the best version of Kendrick that we've ever gotten. But 2015 Future drops 3 classic mixtapes, a classic album in DS2, and then a classic collaborative project with Drake as well. That I think, again, it still is like nobody ever speaks down in the album. I think if you look at some of the streaming numbers, it is a little bit underrated for sure, but it is a project that is definitely recognized for its quality. But you're getting 4 incredible Future on an album performances in 2015. And again, you could go through like some of the Wayne and some of the other stuff here, or some of the years where it's like, okay, were these 2 Kanye albums, these 2 Eminem albums, if it's like, okay, the 8 Mile soundtrack, and I guess what was it, Marshall Mathers that dropped that year, or was it one of the shows that dropped that year, or maybe it was like Encore in the 8 Mile soundtrack, whichever like O2 album Eminem had. It's like, okay, maybe this is like the best single output that an artist has had. But just to put up, like, and that is almost, maybe that is a different version of what we were saying for the Future player as well, to the player comp, because we were saying, is he the player with the underrated stats that you go, okay, the impact is there, but I don't think he's the guy with he's definitely not the guy with the overrated stats. I'm not saying that, but is there I was going to say like Ron Harper. Ron Harper on one team is like, oh, is he a 20-point a game guy? And then on another team, he can be like 3-point shooter. But again, Future's never going to be the Ron Harper on a star team if it comes down to that type of star level type stuff. So maybe I'm trying to think of like maybe like Kevin McHale. Future's like a Kevin McHale. It's like, who are the stacked teams from the back of the day? The Celtics, the Lakers, got to be one of those 2 teams. So could be somebody from way back in the Celtics day. But McHale was a guy that you're like, okay, if McHale was a number 1 player on a team, he could have been 28 to 30. He could have been a 30-10 guy every year. And maybe he's in the second round of the playoffs. Maybe he's in the conference finals, really up there competitively, and his teams are awesome. I don't know if you would have thought, again, I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing. And again, maybe it's like, okay, he was a 6th man, but I don't know. Was McHale in the conversation? He would have been right on the edge. It's like, I don't know. I kind of think maybe, speaking of Klay, this Future and Klay Thompson chat. Hey, yo. I don't know if we want to start getting too much into the comps there. Klay Thompson, where's the Gucci flip-flops? Hey, yo. But, it's like, okay, if Klay had his own team, I mean, 27 a game, again, there's a couple of rounds in the playoffs, first team. Maybe if Klay was the best player, whatever that situation was, if Klay had his own team, quote unquote, I don't think we would have been shocked if Klay had been like a first team All NBA guy. So that's, I think, kind of what we're talking about. And that 2015 year would kind of be whatever that season would be for that guy kind of having his own team. Like if Davis just balled out this year and was just awesome on the Mavs, and I guess I don't know what second round of the playoffs is a ceiling for all these teams. Future is Jalen Brunson right now. I don't know, Jalen Brunson, one of the more loyal players in the NBA, but I feel like Future is. Are you loyal if you're are you not loyal if you're honest? You know, I don't know what the rules are there. So, and I don't know, guess don't know exactly how Future is moving everywhere, but so it's like, oh, if this guy got traded, I guess again is Future getting traded as well too. Maybe sometimes, but I don't know if that is necessarily the case as well now. But yeah, again, like we're just the total amount of projects and the amount of output just from a music standpoint that he had that year is, and if we're just going through and like, okay, the amount of quality songs that he gave us probably gave us more quality songs in 2015 than Kendrick gave us in that stretch as well too. And we're talking, the feature as well. Can I remember all the features? It's not like he just was. I mean, he did obviously, pop out and show up. He's shown up in a lot of the major projects, but it's not like he's necessarily been on a lot of the underground stuff as well, too, if I recall. But again, he's had a lot of the guys on his own project with GNX, so it's the reverse way of it, or pause, the other way around. But the verse that he gave us on Future's album is definitely in the mix. It goes for both of them for that year. But, it's great Kendrick material, and that's definitely obviously more of a Kendrick performance, and for that song specifically. But that verse, the songs that he gave us in the diss track, and then the album, and then, the Playboi Carti feature, the start of the tour. Is there another album that he popped out on that I'm not thinking of? He was just on the Pusha T album, but now, I don't know, at some point, I guess the year can't be 27 months. So, it can still be one of the greatest stretches that a guy's ever had. But again, if we're talking years, at some point we do have to draw the line. So, whichever features cut off in that list. Here, let me see if I can actually just double check Kendrick's feature list from last year to make sure that I am not forgetting anything. Where's his discography at? Here we go. Singles. I'm pulling it up on a different page if you're wondering why it's not popping up there. I'm just leaving the album up for now. But other guest appearances? Oh, wait a second. 2020s. Here we go. Okay, these are all considered his. Okay, here's his GNX album. So yeah, it's just got the Playboi Carti features listed for now. Oh, and then the SZA. Yeah, he's on 30 for 30 with SZA for sure. I guess it doesn't even have that one listed here as well. So is that on other guest appearances? Maybe. Oh, now we really have to scroll. It's starting back in 2010, 2013. Okay, the man was busy. 2025. Yeah, here we go. Mojo backdoor credit. Oh no, it's just going Playboi Carti again. So where's the SZA feature? Hey yo, now I don't trust this. I feel like it's definitely leaving something else out. But again, it was just such an event, I guess, every time that he popped out that maybe it felt like a couple more times than it actually was. But like, obviously, in a good way, pause. But whoa. But yeah, regardless, what I'm saying is still true about Future's 2015 season. So it's really, I guess, what you value about Kendrick's season, and the way that he was able to, of course, just transcend and take places, take a spot, which is really the thing that is ultimately gonna be special about that beef. Is it really was a changing of the guard moment. And again, maybe I was like just totally am missing the rest of the history of the rest of these beefs. But, and I'm not saying that there wasn't in the moment ripple effects and conversations that weren't had, but the beef between Pac and Big, I mean, obviously that results in its own thing. And, I'm not saying because of that, there's a legacy thing that's sort of try to hold them both up legacy wise. But again, it never felt directly between those two guys in the same sort of way. And I guess it's still coastal and still all, very probably much who's your guy in the moment. So the ones that are the other way around are definitely not going to be like more open to listening. Because again, even that, like even with as decisive as the beef was, it's like, okay. And again, with the way the numbers change, it's not like people just totally cut Drake out of the rotation and stuff like that. It's just Kendrick just leveled up as well too. But again, Jay-Z and Nas, like I don't know if Nas, maybe the next album like really sold really well because of it. I mean, I'm sure it helped, but and I guess his career in the 20, he did have some good albums after that as well too. He had Life is Good album, and there's another one in there that I'm not thinking of off the top of the head. That I'm pretty sure he got two nominations in there, like end of the 2010s for a couple albums, but maybe it did turn around a little bit. But regardless, it's not like, and I think people still would have, maybe it was more of just a reaffirmation of Nas at the top. And I guess Jay-Z, like those guys are still, again, 1-2 at the top in conversation. And if you're ever really talking about those guys, I don't feel like, maybe you do at some point have to get to that point, but I honestly feel like a debate never goes down to the fact that Nas got Jay-Z in a rap battle like that. Like, and again, maybe it's just the way that Jay-Z, sneaky guy, became friends with Nas, and now it's like all cool. But his career, obviously, he has the discography, and maybe it works out as well too. Specifically in that case, Jay-Z's discography is able to line up with Nas's discography in a way that Kendrick's discography may stand out from the rest of these guys. But Drake and Pusha T as well too. It's not like Pusha T became the #1 most streamed rapper in the U.S. and the world right after the beef with Drake. Drake kind of went out about it business. He still was the #1 guy up until the beef with Kendrick. And again, that's the point of the beef with Kendrick is like, okay, it's not necessarily, and I guess, you could say with what Drake is producing with his music, and I don't know what the numbers are going to be like, is it the fall off for Drake? I'm not necessarily saying that. But it was a changing of the place where now there is a new #1, and that's just not something that's never happened from a beef before. And I think that's something that has laid the groundwork now from a beef standpoint, that I think it always made sense that, of course, that's what we're battling for. Whoever is the best, who wins the rap beef is the best rapper. Like, that's, that's the point of that. That's the competitive way that this goes, in the most natural version of it, where now, we're not worried about the numbers and the competitive and the critical acclaim, whatever kind of random side stuff we're going to throw on top of it. Like, whoever the best sort of guy in the battle situation is the best guy. But again, for Nas and Jay-Z, it's not necessarily like, I feel like that gets just a locked in thing for the conversation in terms of where we rank those guys. Like, it does obviously help, and it does, again, you're like, okay, Nas with the pen. And if you're valuing that, then you're, it's a great case to have him #1. But then if you're valuing the amount of classics that Jay-Z had, and, him lyrically as well too, and, his performance in the battle, it's obviously, and that's the thing with Drake as well too, outside of the hard part 6, it's like, okay, for the most part, the man was definitely holding his own there. And, just Kendrick, again, it was a great performance, just really strategic, really outmaneuvered him, really great songs as well too, was able to, drop the hit that nobody was able to think he was going to drop. But it actually did like swap a place. And that's just, again, even though it makes sense that is what happens, it's not necessarily, I think, something that has like fully happened to this level, the way that it's like, oh no, Kendrick is the guy now in a way that he was. And I think, do we go back and look, is like Drake now actually the #1 guy? But there is a solidified status, and I think just a solidified feeling about what the sort of vibe is. Or, obviously, I'm just exposing myself as a Kendrick guy at this point. But I guess, speaking of Future's album, hey, yo, chat. Is this just what happens? It is what it is. Oh, we did it again. Pause. There it is. Yeah, shout out. We got the deluxe, so hey, of course we get the great couple of tracks. Do we go with the feature on the end, chat? Hey, yo, are we allowed to play this now? And just 8 million. Nobody playing this one. Hey, yo, 8 million streams on the Diddy feature. It is what it is. Push a T. Maybe we just have to end with F up some commas chat. We just run back thought it was a drought one more time. Maybe. But of course we're almost to Percocet and Stripper Joint. And again, like we're saying, the Metro Boomin, the mix of producers on this album, but you're still getting a great cohesive sound as well too, which I mean is great that Future has always had that aesthetic as well too, that he's been able to really craft and really narrow down, which I don't again think he necessarily gets credit for, because the again the producers that he's working with are so high level and are so great. Like I'm sure Metro Boomin in this last project especially, again, he has his name on it. It does feel like he probably was as equal in the executive stuff, maybe even if more so, where that might have been more of a hey Future, can we get some verses type of project. I don't know exactly, but his ability to craft and be in these different aesthetics as well too. But this one, of course, like we're saying, just that the young, just sort of most grimy, stripped down party animal whatever version of Future that you're getting on this album is crazy. But then just the back and forth between the trap beats and the sort of just laid back production, where his ability to float on some of this stuff. And again, that's where obviously I don't know just right now if this will always be this way, but it's been this way for a while, so I don't know. Well, I mean, I feel like it does change sometimes, favorite song on albums for sure, but I feel like Percocet and Stripper Joint is always going to be the one for us, even though there might be some other ones that get it on the streamings. I guess it is the number 2 most streamed, so it's not necessarily a hot take, but it is what it is. But that, of course, is just the peak version of the chill, laid back, just floating on a vibe type of Future that is great. And that was the thing that I still don't really know if I like or dislike about the We Don't Like You the Don't Trust You, the We Don't Like You, the We Don't Trust You projects, because there is a great sort of, almost you feel like one's a more of a daytime-ish, like a more, again, like I'm going to drive around and this is a little more of a banger type, type aesthetic. Maybe the nighttime one's more of a banger aesthetic, but, then you're feeling like Future's going more a little, more R&B laid back vibes with the We Still Don't Trust You version. And if there was a way that they had mixed, obviously, the best version, and again, it's personal, like the best version of that album to us is going to be different than other people. But if they'd cut down that album and mixed the two together, what is, does the album itself become a better project? But then again, you had 2 number 1 albums and had, if you put those 2 together, had probably the biggest streaming year. I actually still think maybe Travis did have the biggest streaming year with just the first week with the Days Before Rodeo re-release, which of course is just crazy. But the combined power of those 2 albums was, of course, a massive, massive boost for Future. And like we're saying, the other one did, of course, maybe, Kendrick helped it as well too, but did get the critical acclaim and the nomination on top of that. So the way that they ended up doing it is great. And I actually do kind of like, again, just like, okay, this is the chill sort of laid back aesthetic. And I'm just going to, this is, okay, we're driving around at night. This is what we're throwing on for the Future vibe, is this one. And then maybe in a different, maybe we're at the gym, we're going to throw on We Don't Trust You instead. But this one, I think, is kind of a perfect any setting. And Future's a perfect any setting type of guy. And Future, and I don't know if maybe, again, Kendrick is number 1 in streaming right now, so maybe Kendrick is the number 1, just is everybody okay with this guy? I mean, that would have been, and again, especially for her guys, I guess if we're going all time, like if you put on like a Dr. Dre song, or, 50 Cent is honestly probably the most, if we're going all time, like, let's be honest, all time, there's really nobody that ever gets mad if you play a 50 Cent song. I guess, what 50 Cent song are you playing? Like what kind of cuts are you playing? But you get what we're saying. Like, if you're playing, some not the first couple. Even let's get into Curtis. Like, we're playing off. Honestly, again, play any 50 Cent song. I really don't care. If you're telling me it's country or a late 50 Cent song, give me the 50s and give me a 50 Cent feature in 2025 over any country song. I don't care. But if anybody is like, wait a second, why are you playing 50 Cent? I think they might get kicked out of the room. But again, Dr. Dre as well too. But if we were going all current guys, more the active group, the Drake thing, I think it's in 2025. We're far away from moving. It's not really controversial. If you're playing, honestly, it's back to the point where if you're probably not playing Drake in a setting, it's kind of crazy. But again, it's maybe it's like, do you have to play some sexy songs for you? I don't know if you necessarily have to cue that up. And that is, I think, an interesting conversation, I think, in the music that we're at right now in the last couple of years of, like, what is music that just has to be added into the rotation in that type of way where, like, okay, if there's an environment, and I guess, okay, how much time do we have? But, like, if this song has to be played, like, how many songs from right? And I guess you could say, okay, well, obviously, just the radio. Like, okay, just play the popular songs, and that's your list. But I think we kind of understand how some of that in the moment stuff works. Like, shout out, even Pusha T's stuff is like iconic. It really debuted at a strong number. It's a really, really awesome project. I don't know if, and again, it's like how many guys are in this territory. But, even, again, Jack Boys 2. Is Jack Boys 2 in the it's like, or if you go to a party tomorrow night, do you have to be, like, it'd be cool if they are playing, the good cuts off of Jack Boys 2. Shout out. If they got that first opening, maybe that opening track, you probably got to be playing that opening track this weekend. For sure. I mean, that's definitely a banger. But, again, it's like, okay, if you were out all night and didn't hear that Travis Scott song, you're like, hey, I didn't, you might, again, think of it because it's new, but you're not necessarily going to be like, maybe, well, I guess I'm not going to say, oh, there's no life to the album. But I know I'm not picking on that album specifically. I'm just saying, in general, it's an interesting conversation. Even with the good ones, I don't know if it's just a music thing. And I'm just thinking, okay, how much time does something need to have to be iconic? But either way, I think Future could have the argument right now for that spot. And, we did have the Rap Madness bracket going right now. So Travis is another one. He just won that for his second year in a row. I think if we're talking about things that mean something in the scale of things, that is way down on the list. But again, as a scope of the internet, then I do think that does reflect something very, like, yeah, I think if you're at a place, like, you kind of have to be playing, like, Travis Scott has to be queued up. And again, the new album is one thing, but just in general, there's got to be some from Travis Scott's catalog that plays. And again, like, could you queue a whole setup of iconic stuff and be like, oh, wait a second, there wasn't any Travis Scott in there? But if you want to have a great set, again, of current artists that are in the moment and everybody is okay with, like, if you're playing a song from this guy, and it's not just, okay, who's okay with playing this guy, but it's sort of the scope of the catalog where I don't also necessarily have to worry about what song to play. Like, Future has that as well too. Like, if you got the Future songs queued up, you don't necessarily need to be worried about which one you're going to go with. Like, they kind of all can work in any setting. Like, again, We Still Don't Trust You. He's really, in some R&B vibes there. So you're probably not necessarily cutting into the, every party with a song off of that. But even if you honestly, if you did, I wouldn't mind. And to be honest, R&B parties are probably better than normal parties anyways. I don't know if that's a hot take, but if you're in that vibe, then I don't know what's an R&B party, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I think if you're at any vibe and they're playing that, you're leaning in more some of the R&B, hip hop R&B crossover, then I'm probably going to be having a little bit more of a good time. I remember this past New Year's, we were out at a couple places, and like the last place we wandered into, it was like, okay, now they're playing, like, oh, of course we're going to be here for 15 minutes, and this is the place that's like, oh, now we get the J. Cole, the SZA, and the, the Future, whatever else. Like, I remember, like, okay, we got like a J. Cole cut. I think they played Love Yours. I don't know if it was just it might have just been super late, but I was like, wait a second, they're playing Love Yours. Like, I don't even know if this is the right song, but I just love that I love that they're playing the song, and I love the respect for the scope of the catalog. It's not necessarily a cut, but yeah, I don't know if it necessarily would have been the number one draft pick for the moment, but I mean, he could be the number one guy right now. I think Future, regardless of what the rap Madness bracket would say. I would think Future would have to be the number one, or over Travis. I guess number one, but over Travis right now for guys you would be okay. Again, I'm still gonna give Kendrick the number one spot in the list here. I'll actually move the rankings. We'll just look on Spotify, or move the album. We'll look on Spotify here. What name did I just type out there, chat? Kendrick. Hey yo. I'm not trying to take a side. I'm just really bad at typing. But is he still he's at number 12, so we'll see. I guess, we got to look up Travis as well, too. He could pass. He could be the number one most streamed hip-hop guy in general right now. And, Eminem is always going to be hovering right behind these guys as well, too. Oh, so Drake has overtaken him. Hey, yo. So what did I miss? And I guess, again, it's going to be his time again. This is going to be the cycle, It's sort of not, who is in the moment bigger. But again, there was a hierarchy at the top where it was like, oh, well, this guy, this guy's just number one. This is just how it is, no matter what you say. And that was always the argument as well, too. And I'm not against it, but it was like, well, yeah, but he's number one. And that is it's obviously a great thing. But the fact that it just is not that, like, boom, boom, boom. And I get, like, well, pause. But I don't even know what that means. But it interprets to something. So either way, I guess we were just looking up his numbers there. So I guess, again, in the public mindset, he is back. So maybe Future is number one. Maybe the point was maybe Future is number one. Like, because, does it feel like you're picking a side? If you're playing, again, it's 2025. Nobody really cares anymore. But if you're playing Future, nobody's mad. And I guess there could be songs for anybody. But there could be, like, I guess if you went with a real storytelling track from Kendrick. I mean, obviously, it's going to be a great song. But you're like, okay, are there certain songs that may not be right for every vibe? I mean, again, this is like, okay, Drake, are we getting a little too sad here? Like, we're trying to have a good time. But Future might have the best, highest hit rate for that. And then maybe since Drake and Kendrick are right there in the rankings, so Future's in a tier by himself. The number one guy that you're most okay with queuing up on Aux in the hip hop world right now is Future. Is that a hot take? It might be. And then Kendrick and Drake in tier number 2, and then we'll put. Oh, wait a second. If we're including SZA, then maybe SZA goes number 1 next to Drake as well, or next to Future as well too. Yeah, we had his pulled up on the screen. So that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, does she go in tier 2 next to Kendrick and Drake? But no, I think she goes into tier 1. And I think, well, I guess Beyonce, she just dropped a country album, so I don't know. But I guess she goes in tier 1 as well too. And then I think so would Rihanna. But Rihanna, drop an album and we'll put you back in tier 1. But, she's obviously still she might still be streaming more than Drake and Kendrick at the moment. But here we go, chat. F up some comments, shout out. But she, like we said, she would be in tier number 1. She'll be back in the active tier number 1. She's sort of like just I guess I don't I use an analogy, but just again, inactive right now on IR. Well, I guess we can't really use a medical thing either, but you get what we're saying. Just she needs to drop an album. If we go to the 10-year mark without her dropping an album, can we call it active? Even though obviously she is still in the streaming world, the numbers are still crazy. But does she still get the active artist type stuff? And there is obviously still people that you're like, okay, if you queued up a Tyler song, is I guess Tyler's right there. Tyler's probably in tier 2 as well too. The only reason I think Tyler might not be in tier 1 is because maybe not I guess would everybody know? Well, I guess it depends on where you're at. But would everybody know it's a Future song if everybody doesn't know it's a Tyler song? Like, I guess would everybody know it's a Drake song? I feel like everybody would know it's a Kendrick song, but Drake's pretty distinct for sure, and obviously he's super popular. So I feel like people would know for sure. But there's just like those voices that you're like, okay, they're so almost omnipresent that you're just like, if somebody that didn't know, like if a mom or a grandma was like, wait a second, is that Drake? Is that Kendrick? Is that is that Taylor Swift? Is that Dua Lipa on the Sabrina Carpenter? Is she getting in that tier as well too? But yeah, if we're sticking in the hip hop world, then maybe that is tier number 1. Again, I was like, oh, who am I missing? But then if I'm not thinking of them, then maybe that's the point as well too. And it's not like, I'm not thinking of some big names as well too. I'm just filtering them out and saying, okay, probably not that one as well too. Probably not that one. Again, like Cole, you're probably going to be great playing Cole, but is everybody going to be 100% locked in? He's going to be tier 2, I feel like. Future, I feel maybe we're just making the point at this point, but Future's number 1. Hey, yo. So, I mean, again, iconic, great, still legendary one. And, with 3 projects in 2024 that were all quality, we've been having the mixtape Pluto up in the shuffle a lot recently as well, too. And it's been one of those albums, again, it's a little bit newer. I wasn't necessarily going back to it, like, purposefully when it first dropped. Again, he's got 2 other projects as well, too. So it's like, I guess I'm only listening to Future now. He's got so much new music. But, again, we were just really enjoying the projects that he had dropped with We Don't Trust You and We Still Don't Trust You, with a lot of the, songs that had made a rotation out of there. So the album, the mixtape Pluto wasn't necessarily a song that we were intentionally listening to, getting in the brainwaves in that way. So when it was popping up in the shuffle, it was like, wait a second, this is Future, but I'm not exactly certain which one this is. And then I'd go back to and be like, oh, this is mixtape Pluto. And then another one would be like, oh, wait a second, this is also mixtape. And I was like, wait a second. First off, I didn't realize I'd saved this, all the mixtape Pluto songs into the playlist for one. But I was like, okay, I'm, not necessarily being disappointed. And it was, and again, it's like, okay, I saved all the ones I like. So shocker, when I rehear them again, it's like, oh, you like this one. But it's like, okay, I feel like this is much more of the album that I remember being like, oh yeah, and again, he was having such a great year as well too. But that project was great reviewed and great accepted. It's like, okay, how much in Future can we actually be bumping in the moment here? And again, we had Kendrick popping off and Tyler's dropping music, and there's just a lot happening. So, and are we going to has Future said anything about being back in 2025? Everybody's now dropping albums again. So, I mean, it's great to see. We love that the end of July, August area starts to really heat up for releases. Oh, Chad, are we 8,593,625 on the streams for this outro track? I feel like, it's 25 minutes long. Hey, yo. Is that a Pusha T verse? How they just said Future just called Pusha T and let him cook, and Pusha T just sent back like a 17-minute track. And shout out to Future, just put it on the track list. But that just proves that I guess I've never listened to this track. But I feel like, are the 8 million streams just people that accidentally listen to this? I guess only 8 million times the songs have been accidentally listened to. I feel like maybe more, especially after being right after, the most popular song on the album. It may have some more just reservoir streams. Ayo, pause. I don't know what the best way to say that is, but just some more stuff of that. So I don't know. We play Thought It Was a Drought one more. I guess we play any song one more time. Go back to Percocet and Strippers Joint and just let the intro beat kick in for a second. I don't know how much of it'll let us play before we get kicked off the channel. We don't want to get a strike. Chad, Future. Hey, yo, in his bag. It is what it is. Future and Metro paired up for a classic in 2015. DS2. It still lives on. It's still iconic. It's still, like I said, my favorite Future project. So, we had to recognize it when we got to anniversary time. And again, still one of the albums that I go back to the most, because like I'm saying, for me personally, it's more me picking, hot take for everybody, I'm picking my favorite ones from the artists that I like. But like I was saying with mixtape Pluto, it's like, even in that situation, it's like, okay, maybe there's 1 or 2 tracks specifically that I'd go back to because I know I've already got like a handful of tracks off of here and a handful of tracks off of here. And again, I'm kind of making in this as playlist culture as well too. Like my best version of the 2024 Future album and just kind of going back to that in a playlist more so. And again, obviously there are full projects that you're going back to and full track lists that are awesome. But in terms of what the 2015 projects meant for the people in their discography, again, Drake also, like Future, had multiple projects that he dropped in 2015 and had a great year. But I don't necessarily revisit the, hot take, the 2015 Drake stuff. And, obviously, like, nothing was the same. Was that 15 or was that 13? For some reason, maybe I'm thinking it was 13 instead. Okay, it was 13. So was Views 15? I thought Views was 16. So, oh no, if you're reading this, it's too late. And then, yeah, What a Time to Be Alive. Okay, yeah. So I don't know why I was thinking. I was just combining the What a Time to Be Alive title in the if it's reading it too late album cover in my mind and just making one album, I guess. But, yeah. So those were his two. Like I'm saying, I guess I don't revisit 2015 Drake that much, but and it's great for Drake. I'm not saying that these projects aren't great and worth visiting. And again, I guess there are. Hey, this is gonna show you what if you're reading this is too late is Jungle, right? So I mean, again, we're talking that's probably peak R&B Drake right there, if not his best R&B track. Oh, okay, we got 10 bands on here. Energy check. I guess we'll be queuing up this one a little bit more. But again, it just kind of naturally works that way where it's like, okay, I got to diversify my artists at some point. What Drake songs am I going to be listening to? It's going to be off of the couple albums that I really like. And again, obviously the combination of everybody listening to the music gets the awesome streams. But for Future, this is my favorite project for him, and it's in that awesome 2015 run. So there is Travis, I think Rodeo, arguably still right there as well too. But even for Kendrick, T-Pap is obviously as we just are with everybody else only listening to Kendrick now. But T-Pap, it's gonna work its way back into the rotation. But it's not necessarily the album that I go queue up the most from Kendrick. So Kendrick from this time, again, Future kind of wins the 2015 year for me in terms of that revisiting and the amount that I would re-listen to from an artist from this time would be Future on this album right here. And again, iconic project to get this to launch, continued rise of what has been one of the greats. And again, I think he probably has benefited from the beef and all that stuff about as much as anybody else, because he is now, and not that he ever wasn't, but now that it's consciously out there as well too. I think that conversation is a little bit more aware of him being sort of on that level, the all-time great stuff, like we're saying, the influence stuff. He's getting flowers. Future is obviously a legend. But anytime we have to pay respects to DS2, chat. Anytime there's an anniversary for DS2, make sure mistake. It's like, okay, I guess we listen to it again. I guess you talked me into it. I guess we're firing this album back up. But man, chat, we are single-handedly doubling the viewership of this game, including the audience in attendance. Oh wait, they panned back to the other side of where this Summer League game we're talking about right now. There's 5 minutes left. There is it's 81-96. The Pacers are up over the Pelicans, and there is, I bet we could count. I guess we only, of course, with the television view, that we can only really see one side of the arena. So there's a whole. Not to say that it's full, but just in terms of a head count, we wouldn't be able to get a accurate total number. But I guarantee you we could count the audience on one side and just double it and be like, okay, we can literally count the amount of people that are playing, or that are sitting watching this game right now. I don't think you want to sit here and hear us do it. Pause. Hey, whoa, what are we, Shannon Sharp? But IT, we got him. But I mean, they're right there in section 1. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, you get the point. It is what it is. Low attendance score called out. We're taking shots at everybody. The Summer League attendant, Shannon Sharp. We're going crazy, chat. We're in our Future bag. Hey, Future, get us on the next album. We're taking shots. It is what it is. And, Future was saying as well. I remember there was an interview around that time where he was like, this guy, he's not, he's saying, one, there is a big 3. He's like, that one just leaves me out of the conversation totally. And he's saying that on my album. And, he's like, you don't hear me complain. Future has, and again, Kendrick is, again, he'll attack everybody, but there is he'll attack anybody, but there is a not caringness to how he goes about his stuff from a perception standpoint, where Future carries himself in that same way, where Future is, Future's real. Future will not be afraid to address anything and tell, just say it like it is on a track. But there is, again, he'll say it because he just doesn't care, and he'll move like that and commit to it and be honest to it, and it's authentic to him. And it's like, okay, Future, the way he carries himself like that, it's obviously awesome. And we are able to, it obviously works, but there is a good side to it that you like to see. So we're not even watching Bronny right now. Hey, yo, chat, what are we doing? Bronny's on? Hey, yo, Summer League, I don't even know who they're playing. It doesn't matter. You just hear Bronny's in the mix. Dalton Connect? And you gotta queue it up. So wait a second. What were we watching? Okay, we weren't watching this on the Plus. Oh, the Nuggets Summer League team. The Jokic brothers in attendance. I mean, who would have thought the Jokic brothers actually... I mean, the one that's good at basketball doesn't like basketball, and the other brothers actually love basketball even more than Jokic. Because there's clips of the Jokic brothers just at the Summer League games. And again, Jokic isn't even playing. It's not like... Is there a Jokic, like, nephew that we don't know about? Whoa, chat! This ref is jacked. Hey, yo! Was this Carl Weathers reincarnated? Reffing a basketball game? Maybe this guy... I was get this guy in the Predator recast. Hey, yo, now we just need to find our Arnold. We got our other guy. Or maybe Bill Duke, honestly, chat. Hey, this guy... Just get him on the chopper. Anywhere. But LA up by 4 into the second quarter. The score for a Summer League game. Oh, who's got the ball stolen? Not Bronny. Okay. It doesn't matter. As long... Oh, wait a second. Is it a Nuggets guy? Which team is which? Are the Nuggets wearing purple? This is very confusing. No, I think the Nuggets are in black right now. Hey, yo. We might... hopefully you guys realize what we just said there. But we're talking about basketball, so... I don't think Bronny is checked in to the game at this moment. Maybe he's not playing. Is he get the rest of the... Is he shown enough? He's earned his guaranteed contract? Again, he has played well. There might be a... and again, are we saying that he's going to be the 6th man for the Lakers next year? But Bronny might play in, 44... I don't know what the two-way stuff, but I guess he's already on his contract, but... He might appear in more than half the games. What was his number for last year? Let me look it up. I guess, it was some early check-ins, and then he went to the G League, and then really by the end of the year, he was hanging out. It's not in Santa Cruz. Where's the Lakers G League team at? Santa Monica? I honestly don't know. I just typed in LeBron James as well, too. I'm not even looking for Bronny's page here. Wait a second. LeBron James Jr.? Nah, he goes by... here we go. Bronny James, chat. Crazy. He's got the page. He's listed. He's an NBA player. He has made it in some ways. 27 games played. 1 game started. Started a game, chats. And when he did play, 6 minutes a game. So, they checked... When he checked in, they were using it. Pause. 181 minutes in total. So, he's going to double that. Bronny gets to 350 minutes next year. That's the take. I guess 360. I don't know whatever the actual number would be. But, 400 minutes. We'll just say, well, we don't care. We'll double down. 400 minutes for Bronny next season. Who played... Here, this is like nerd corner. It is what it is. But we got who played 400 minutes in 24-25 check? We'll see. The league leader... Just, I guess... We don't have like a 3,000 minutes guy. I don't even know if we... would have at any point, maybe at some point, but that would be, Oh, Bridges did get to 3,036 was the high mark for minutes played. So Embiid 574 minutes. So Bronny's going to be a Joel Embiid level player next year. Wagner, he got hurt. There's some injury guys around here, but Jalen Clark, Minnesota, Rashawn Holmes, Washington, 530 minutes. Our guy from also in Washington, Tristan Vucevic, played. Oh, has the Wemby jersey just been crumpled up, chat, the entire time? Oh, man. The disrespect. Here, at least for the end. At least we caught it and paid respects. Anyways, pause. But, here, wait. Let me get the page switched over. Yeah, here we go. Embiid, Kobe Jones. Over Craig Porter Jr. Ooh, chat. How tall is Craig Porter Jr.? I feel like he might be like a sneaky 6'4". 6'2". 6'2", 186. Craig Porter last year, 51-43 percentages. Hey, yo. Much better than you'd suspect. Are we exposing ourselves? Do we have a little Craig Porter stock? Bronny James! Whoa! So like a Craig Porter Jr. level player. And again, is he a guy that's like, okay, does he check in and get a little extra usage in the situations where the game's not necessarily close and it maybe makes him look a little bit better? That could definitely be the case. But there is value in a guy that, again, not even in that type of situation, but it is also like Craig Porter. He's more so the guy that maybe he's not consistently the 6-7 man on the roster, but again, night to night, maybe he steps up and can be. As much as you need guys that's, could he step up and be the second guy? Could he step up and be the, whatever the chain reaction is? At some point down the reaction, it's like you need a guy that's going to step up and be the 7th man to the 8th man. Again, not to be like, he's only delegated to that role, but again, that's a good player. I like DeLon Wright. 600 minutes, 40 games as well, too. Again, it's like how much they play in the games they were healthy in. Gigi Jackson, 29 games. He would have played more for sure. Ousmane Dieng. I have Ousmane Dieng stock. So, Bronny, do I feel better about Ousmane Dieng or Bronny? DM us at REMINGTOM on Instagram and let us know. Who do you have more stock in, Ousmane Dieng or Bronny? I guess, the Thunder player, that situation for sure. But if you put Bronny on the Thunder, does that change your mind at all? I don't know. Jordan Walsh, Hunter Tyson, also in that range. Furphy got 380 minutes last year. I think I watched about negative 400 of those. Don't remember a single Johnny Furphy minute. But Charles Bassey also got 376 minutes. That's 376 minutes too few. Should have been way more. McDermott, Coloco, Terrence Shannon might take a step up this year. Hood Schifino. So Bronny officially takes the Hood Schifino spot. Well, I guess he got traded, and which is why he got some more of his minutes. Yeah, Mitchell Robinson, 17 games played. But when he plays, he's actually, starter in the rotation, top 6 guy. A.J. Johnson, Kyle Lowry now, Pickett, Jalen Pickett, Quentin Post for the Warriors. Yeah, Quentin Post, the kind of guy he checks in, you're like, Quentin Post is good, for sure. And maybe he just played a little bit more in the back half of the year as well, too. Jay Huff, now in, I guess we're in the 8. Is Bronny going to get to 800 minutes? Hey, Shake Milton territory. Whoa, Bronny's a Shake Milton. Zion! So what are the levels of Bronny? Bronny could be a Joel Embiid. He could be a Zion. Who's at like 1,000 minutes played that's too good? I guess, we're starting to get into just kind of real. Tidgeton Saloon? Why do we have him highlighted? Who knows? But, Jalen Johnson. Hey, yo. So he could be, and I guess it feels like we're kind of going backwards with the name value, but maybe going forward, it is the right order. Paul George at 1,300 minutes last year. Jake LaRavia. Trey Lyles. Bronny, better than Trey Lyles next year? Could Bronny be a top 200 player in the league? We'll workshop the hot take and let you know. I don't know what the rest of the Summer League looks like for our guy. But yeah, we got Summer League championships this weekend, so stay tuned, Chad. That's gonna be wild. We can't wait for that. Oh man, that is who's gonna get the trophy there. MVPs, first team All Summer League. I mean, so many questions, but we will be back, of course, this weekend. Probably not mainly paying attention to that, though. It may find its way on a TV. Basketball has a funny way of doing that, unless there is. Well, I guess unless we're on during the WNBA All-Star game, or there's like some Big 3 on. Or something like that. Is the Big 3 still in season? Ayo, I did actually see something about the... Chat. Big 3 corner. Real quick. I did see... I don't know if it was just a in-season update or end-of-season ranking type stuff, but I saw some MVP rankings for the Big 3. So is our algorithm just... Instagram's like, oh man, this guy is a degenerate basketball fan. Let's give him the Big 3 posts. We know that he'll enjoy looking at those real quick. But I don't know. Maybe it was... I guess we could look up their schedule and see in season where they're at. Do they have a Big 3 ladder for the Big 3 MVP? The Kia MVP Big 3 ladder? The 2024 MVP was Michael Beasley. So has the season started yet? Are they in season right now? Did he announce the... So here, I guess... Let's check the schedule. Sorry, Big 3. We're trying. I'm watching the post. I feel like I've seen some highlights. I feel like we've watched Big 3. I don't know. Did we watch a rerun? Were we watching Big 3? Yeah, week 1, June 14th. So let me see here. Where does this go? Okay, it'll go to August. So good. Okay, a couple weeks of Big 3. Thank goodness the Big 3 will take us into football season. Let's go here, chat. A Big 3 celebrity game. Whoa, we were hoping for a mid-season celebrity game. And we got our wish right before the 2 playoff games. So what does that look like? The Big 3 is almost a celebrity basketball tournament. So what is this? We get Quavo out there in the Big 3 tournament. Quavo, the what-if talent of the Big 3. I don't know, Quavo sort of feels like he did win an MVP at some point, did put up good numbers, felt like there was still a couple of untapped levels for his game. Is there still time for the Quavo celebrity basketball career to fully lock in? I mean, it felt like for a second there, again, where we like, okay, is this the next, like, oh, is this the greatest non-NBA guy to be in a celebrity game? But I don't know. I feel like our guy Arnie Duncan still gets that nod. So, yeah, Big 3 season is locked in and loaded. I guess it was just an MVP ladder that we saw, but it was a fun ladder. It was like, okay, these are the top 5 guys in MVP voting right now for Big 3. Again, I think Michael Beasley, he's going to be back-to-back MVP in the Big 3. So he was 1. Joe Johnson was number 2, but I looked at his numbers and was like, okay, is Michael Beasley number 1 because they're just trying to, like, keep, because they know Joe Johnson won't care. But Joe Johnson's numbers look like he might be the MVP. And then Montrezl Harrell was on the list, and there was 2 other names. Like, this is actually a good team if this team was playing in the NBA like a couple years ago. So let me see if I can find that post actually real quick. I imagine it's just on the Big 3 site. I don't think I follow any Big 3 like does Bleacher Report have a separate Big 3 page? I don't know necessarily, but was this a new post or just like the algorithm giving you? Was this a post? Was this a post from last year? Was this an Explore page post? Maybe this was the MVP rankings from last year. Here, wait, let me go back on the search real quick and see what we've got. If they do we have the votes? Can somebody unveil the voting for the Big 3 MVP from 2024? I need to know. Expose yourselves. Tell us who you voted for. I need to see the list. But, oh yeah, Joe Johnson won it, of course, a couple years ago. But regardless, it looked like, so I guess we could look up the numbers. I'm sure it was just, pretty similar to the points per game. And I guess, we'll still see the players that are a part of this. But the league leader, so is Bibby still in the Big 3? Yeah, Beasley's up there for, total points, 90 points. Glenn Rice Jr., that was the other, and Jonathan Simmons. So, yeah, this was at least 4 of them. And then Joe Johnson was also there, too. So, I guess, where's Joe Johnson for? Yeah, so I guess he's 6 in total points. But it was Glenn. So, I guess, Glenn Rice Jr., I don't think he quite had the NBA run. Because, again, Jonathan Simmons was it maybe a sort of short and sweet NBA tenure in a way, but still got paid. Glenn Rice Jr., had 2 years, a couple minutes for sure. So, Bronny already played more minutes than Glenn Rice Jr., chat. Whoa. I don't know if that would have been I guess he was the 35th pick of the draft. So, I bet Bronny was the 50th pick of the draft. So, already, of course, crushing expectations. And, of course, we put into perspective where he was at in real life in USC. The fact that he's making the NBA and contributing is obviously incredible. But I was like, okay, Michael Beasley, Joe Johnson, Jonathan Simmons, and Montrezl Harrell. And then Glenn Rice Jr., I guess, but who else? Jordan Crawford? Jordan Crawford's not. Dwight Howard. They might honestly need Dwight Howard because Lance Stevens, that's like that might be a too many shot maker scenario. Can you have Michael Beasley and Joe Johnson and Jonathan Simmons all on the same court together? But this is a good league for Jonathan. This will be a Jonathan Simmons moment. I'm all here for it, chat. This is great. League leader in field goals made. 4-pointers. Oh, okay. So that's how Michael B. That's his secret, chat. He's a great 4-point shooter. Pause. But only 3 made, I guess, for this year. Joe Johnson. Him and Joe Johnson, the only guys to make multiple 4-pointers. Whoa. Historic stuff for our guys from the Big 3. So, yeah, they still continue to get names. Maybe one day, I don't know if Caitlin Clark is still in the realm of possibility, but I don't know if Ice Cube is still even offering. But we shall see what happens. So, yeah, shout out to the W. Great time. Shout out to Sabrina for taking home incredible 3-point contest. Shout out to Future for dropping an incredible 10 albums. Whoa, he didn't drop 10 albums, but he dropped an album 10 years ago. That was incredible. That we will probably be listening to tomorrow again. Who knows? But we'll be back, like I said, later this weekend. You can follow. Oh, there's Bronny on the sideline. Yeah, so he's not playing tonight. But we'll be back later this weekend. You can follow us here on the YouTube. The live streams do go up on the podcast feeds a little bit later if you guys want them over there. So, they're always available on Spotify and Apple and all those different platforms. And if you, like I said earlier, if you want to message us with your, I guess, Bronny versus Usman Jang takes, you can message us at REMINGTOM on Instagram over there. I'm really looking forward to see what the public says about those two guys. But, yeah, stay tuned. We'll be back Sunday. Subscribe to find out when, I guess. Or, just stay locked in. But otherwise, we will see you then. Peace.